What's going on, Raider Nation? I'm Mitchell Renz, host of the Raiders Report, and we are live. We got a special show on tap for today. If you don't know, today's Jeremy Chuggs' birthday, and Jeremy told me he's not showing his face until we get 1,000 HBDs down in the comments section. We're also going to be breaking down some of the latest around the silver and black, which right now is kind of our opponent going up against the Carolina Panthers, and I'm going to be breaking down whether I think it's good or bad that Bryce Young was benched, and now we're going to have to end up playing Andy Dalton. I'm also going to be talking about an offensive line plan that I have for the silver and black. Antonio Pierce spoke to the media yesterday and called the offensive line piss poor and said that everything is on the table and basically said that it was not Zamir White's fault for the issues that this team's been having. So to me, I'm going to sit down. I'm going to look at the different offensive line structures that we could go with week 3 up against the Carolina Panthers, because right now, if you think that Carolina's going to walk into Allegiant, roll over, and give us a win, then you don't know ball, man, because the NFL, you got to earn everything. And then I'm going to do a segment around why it makes sense for the Raiders to trade for Bryce Young and why it doesn't make sense for Bryce Young. The question that I've been asked, should the Raiders go out and make the deal? I made a video on it. So if you asked me over in the last 24 hours, luckily for you, I got it. Now, I see K-Rock. I see Cypher Sniper. I see Raider Kiko. What up, my man John Ada? We got over 300 people here in the building, and it is Jeremy Chuggs' birthday today. I'm not going to tell you how old he's turning, but I can tell you this. Today's going to be a good day. Can I get some HBDs? Happy birthday to Mr. Jeremy Chuggs.
All I want for my birthday is a Raiders win. All I want for my birthday is a Raiders win.
400 people here in the building. If you don't spam happy birthday to Jeremy Chuggs, you can get the hell out of here, man.
How old do you think this old fart is? Let me know down in the comment section. How old do you think I'm turning today?
I'll tell you this right now.
18.
If you farted and saved it and it ended up being the exact age that you are now, no chance in hell I'm smelling it. That's the definition of an old fart.
Oh, dude.
You think about it. I had a friend in college, Jimmy, I don't know if you're watching the show, he used to fart in a bottle, freeze it, and then he'd give it to people. I don't know if it made a difference or not, but I swear to you, that was a story that people used to do.
You need to make that into a jelly bean.
Oh, dude, I'll tell you this. I'm surprised that fart isn't a flavor of those jelly beans.
Old fart.
Old fart. Correct. Old fart. If it's a new fart, a young fart. How old is Jeremy Chuggs?
I've seen some people get it right so far.
Okay. I've only seen one person get it right.
I see one.
And he's an OG.
I see 2 people who've gotten it right.
2 people.
Actually, yeah, only 2 people have gotten it right so far.
I see. Okay, yep. Now I see 2 people. I see 2 people. Early Riser says 31. King says 29. Taino says 30. Rebel, very close. Jimmy Juarez says 33. Jesse says 27. Luis Rodriguez says 28. Nabman says 32. Alex says 46.
You know?
I know it.
Tell the people what it is.
Trying to think of a number, like I could tie it to a Raiders player. He used to wear number 28.
Josh Jacobs.
There you go.
It's my Josh Jacobs year, everybody. I'm turning 28. My Josh Jacobs year. Hopefully, I lead the league in rushing.
I'll tell you this right now. If you lead the league in rushing, I'll give you $5,000.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I'll tell you this.
Well, I mean, if you want to get me something nice, Venmo at Jeremy Chuggs. I'm just saying.
Hey,
if you want to get me a drink for later.
Hey, I'm just
at
saying.
Jeremy Chuggs.
I'm just saying.
Or if you want to, get some tickets to some amazing concerts, comedy shows, theater events, or more, even on days that aren't my birthday.
Correct.
You can go head over to Gametime.
Though, if it was your birthday or if it's not your birthday, a great gift to get is being able to share that memory. You go to a sporting event. Maybe you're out in Vegas this weekend.
Honestly,
Gametime.
Great present is tickets to an event, like tickets to a comedy show, tickets to like a Raiders game or something. That's an amazing gift idea. If you have a significant other that has a birthday coming up,
just saying.
Great idea. Yeah, just saying.
Download the Gametime app, create an account, use code CHATSPORTS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem code CHATSPORTS. That's CHATSPORTS. Download Game Time today. What time is it? Jeremy's like, it's Game Time, but it's also my birthday. Now, they do have these things, what's called the Game Time picks, which you can kind of see like the best deals for the weekend, which if you see right now, if you are going to the Raiders game, there's some tickets right now for $195.
That's actually not bad for a
when I saw that, I was like, I got to take a screenshot of that. There's also some other events, because I don't know if you know this, there's a lot to do in Las Vegas. Our other sponsor here on today's show is PrizePicks. Go to prizepicks.com/CLNS. Make sure that you use code CLNS, $50 instantly when you play $5. That is code CLNS on PrizePicks to get $50 instantly. I love PrizePicks. I actually played PrizePicks last night in the Monday Night Football game. You
said you were close.
Well, they had a special deal going on, which said if you picked more or less on Jalen Hurts, no matter what, you would win something. So if you picked the more on Jalen Hurts' passing yards and he hit more, every single person that picked more divided $3 million and you got it into your account. If you picked less in Jalen Hurts threw for less than, it was like 228 passing yards, which I picked the less and I got it, then everybody that picked the less split $2 million. So today I woke up and I didn't hit my original prize picks. I was off 8 yards of passing with Kirk Cousins, but I woke up this morning with $16 in my account.
Woke up a champion.
I mean, literally, you woke up a champion. But I woke up with 16 extra bucks in my account, and I was like, shit, even though I didn't win, I still was able to have a lot of fun. But, like, watching that game was an electric game because coming down to the wire, I was like, I need Kirk Cousins to get at me 8 more passing yards. Just fell a little bit short. I took Tyler Algier to have 1 receiving yard, and then I needed Kirk Cousins. I went with the demon pick. I needed him to get 248 passing yards. If I would have just done the normal more or less, I would have hit it. But hey, you win some and you lose some. I feel like I always win, though, on PrizePicks. PrizePicks.com/CLNS. Got a super chat coming in here from Patrick Robertson. If you're tuning in right now, we will be getting into the segments coming up here on today's show in about 10 minutes or so. This is where I like to answer some questions for Raider Nation. And I got the Ryan Campbell jersey. Ryan, I don't know if you're watching. I heard that you were a little bit upset with me. If you are here, I got a special deal for you because y'all kicked my ass on Sunday.
If Ryan Campbell's here, we'll do the deal.
Okay.
If Ryan Campbell or Noah Santana, because they were both in the
I'll
building.
say Noah Santana, Ryan Campbell. I apologize. My plan was to be able to party with Chuggs on Sunday night for the Texans game after the Raiders got the win against the Ravens. I'm not kidding you, though. Jeremy called me, and I got home, and I fell asleep. I was not a well human being. Y'all kicked my ass Sunday, but you know what? Raiders got the dub. Hey, Chuggs, it's my birthday, too.
Nav, man.
What's up, Nav, man? Drink the rest of that moonshine for your birthday.
Not. Bench Diablo, and let's stick Tommy in there.
I'll say this. First off, Divine Diablo right now is dealing with a hip injury, so it's not even known whether or not he's going to play. We'll probably get some more updates on that tomorrow once the first injury report comes out. But Tommy Eichenberg, though, he's also hasn't really been a player that's gotten many reps. And if you noticed last week, when Diablo went down, they ended up putting in Luke Masterson instead. So I hear you. I want to see Eichenberg a little bit more. Honestly, I'd like to see a little bit more out of Amari Gaynor. To me, he was a young guy that showed a lot in the preseason. I understand that it's only the preseason, but sometimes like you watch a player and you go, that guy's just a little bit different. I'd like to see a little bit more out of Amari Gaynor. Divine Diablo might be the weakest link right now on that defense, so if you can improve that, our defense is already very good. We'll see what ends up happening. All right, we got 414 people. The question of the week is, are you happy Bryce Young was benched? Give me a yes or give me a no.
It was actually really funny. When this news went down, me and Mitch had 2 different reactions. I was like, oh my goodness, should the Raiders possibly trade for Bryce Young?
Hence why you're going to see this show today.
And Mitch's mind went to go make a short, and that's what I thought he was making the short on, was like, oh, Bryce Young, could the Raiders trade for him? He came back and he was like, this is huge for this weekend's game. And I was like, oh, shit.
Yeah.
I forgot the Raiders play the Panthers this weekend.
I do, and I got a segment coming up here of whether or not I think it's good or bad that Bryce Young ended up getting benched. So I'm not going to give my answer to this question because it's going to give away an entire show that we do today. But I do. I need to know what you guys are thinking.
Tino, if you were here, I think I'd definitely be getting birthday spankings.
Maybe more. I'm not sure. Also, Taino, you and I, we've been texting back and forth. I'll send you the money for the tattoo after today's live show. So just be on the lookout for that.
Oh, yeah, you were supposed to.
Well, again, I've been trying to get a hold of James and Brett. We've had a few other things been going on here at the Chat Sports Studios, let's say, for the past week or so.
Yeah.
So, and I hate being that guy. We just continue to hit random snags in the road. Taino, I can tell you after the show, but I don't want you to think that, you're not going to get the money.
He gave you one of these.
Okay. Taino, I appreciate that. I see a no from DJ Loaded. A Ruthless Raider says no. H. Ortiz says, I don't care. I think you should care, personally. Ron Raspberry, what's up, man? Early Riser says no, he's not happy that he was benched. Yes, he needed to get benched from Dante. Wow from Jesse, what's up, man? Early Riser, no. Raider Nation 80, yes. My dad, what's up, Nation? What's up, big guy? Appreciate you. Reminder, if you want to get your questions or comments on the show, hashtag Raiders, or you can super chat to skip the line. I got Rich Wolf.
Happy birthday, Chugaboo! But also, why couldn't Bryce play just one more week? Also, is Bryce ever a possibility for us if the Panthers just suck with quarterbacks?
Both of these questions are coming up here on today's show.
So, I'll answer because Mitch, when there's two segments around Bryce Young, so I don't want Mitch to give away too much before we get into today's show. I'll answer the first one. It is probably, in my opinion, a bad thing that Bryce Young is not playing this week, because even though I think we all agree he probably has more potential than Andy Dalton moving forward as a franchise quarterback for a team, at this point in his career right now, Andy Dalton is a better football player than Bryce Young, in my opinion. Andy Dalton has more skins on the wall. He's been there. He's done that. Even though he's not ever going to be a franchise quarterback for a team, I think at this moment, his floor is way higher than Bryce Young. Bryce Young's floor is, I'll tell you this. Bryce Young completed 18 passes this past Sunday up against the Chargers. He had 86 yards.
That's actually hard to do.
I don't know how you do it.
I mean, genuinely, and I know there's always like that, I feel like if I got 18 pass completions in the NFL, I'd have more than 84 yards. And some people might say that and roll your eyes, which don't get me wrong, that's an eye roll. But people also thought I was crazy when I said I can throw a football further than Jimmy Garoppolo.
The Vikings had a play last weekend that went 99 yards. Sam Darnold had one pass that went for more yardage than Bryce Young threw for an entire game. That is nuts.
I mean, I hear you, dude. I think this was today's going to be a fun show because it's a lot different than what I typically do going into the week, just because there's so much to talk about our opponent and what the to know and what not to know is. This is we're going to have a lot of fun today. Let's go to Michigan, go blue. If the Raiders could get an elite quarterback at some point in time with this defense, they would be serious contenders.
That's why I was a big Dak guy for the Raiders.
And
that dream's dead, but that's why I said if you put Dak on this team, the Raiders are Super Bowl contenders.
I don't disagree with that. I think if you find a way to find a legit quarterback, though we also got to give Gardner Minshew a little bit of credit. That guy was slinging the pill in that fourth quarter against the Ravens. But also, right now, I think the bigger issue outside of quarterback, because I don't care who your QB is. Like, a lot of people are saying, oh, Mitch, if we had Derek Carr, this and that. I don't know if Derek Carr would look the way that he does behind this offensive line. Like, that's not a knock on DC. It's just our offensive line right now is bad. I mean, that's literally why Antonio Pierce called it piss poor. Like, you can't have a elite quarterback right now with the way that this offensive line is playing. We got to fix the offensive line before we start figuring out what we're going to do at the quarterback position. But I hear you. This has been something that we've been saying for months upon months. I've been saying that I think this is the best defense in the NFL. I was saying that back in probably March, April, and I'm going to stick with it. This is a legit Super Bowl caliber defense. We just now need to figure out our offensive coordinator, our quarterback, our offensive line. If we can tie all that in together, other things will start to fall into place. What's up, Gunny? You're next up here on the Raider Sport. Up early today, boys. What's up, fam? Happy birthday to Chuggs and a real one, Semper Fi. Appreciate you, Crash Dog. Michael Garcia, you're next up here on the Raiders Report. It says NFL Power Rankings has the Raiders as the 26th best team behind teams that all lost last week, and we just beat Baltimore. I don't know if you're talking about Chat Sports power rankings. I don't think that Chat Sports had them at 26. Maybe they had them at like 25, which I did get my vote in. We do a consensus rankings. Again, you got to look at, you're talking about national media, national NFL media. All they look at is the quarterback play. And yes, Gardner Minshew doesn't have that sexy name, but you know what? Gardner Minshew's played a lot better than a lot of other quarterbacks out there. Like, I guarantee you this, if Trevor Lawrence was the Raiders quarterback right now, Raiders would be 0-2, but teams would still, the NFL media would rank us higher because Trevor Lawrence has more name value than Gardner Minshew. But then you also got to look at it like this, where people want to see points. People don't want to talk about how great this Raiders defense has been. And because of that, the Raiders aren't putting up a lot of points, not a lot of sexiness. Yeah, that final quarter against the Ravens was great, but the Raiders have also played really bad to be 1-1. Like, if you want to look at a glass half full, I don't know if the Raiders offense can play as bad as what the Raiders offense has played in the first 2 games, and we're 1-1 against the Chargers, who are 2-0, who look pretty damn good, and then Baltimore, I know they're 0-2, which they got the Cowboys this upcoming week. Baltimore, to me, though, from an overall standpoint, I still think that they are a top 10 NFL team.
Yeah.
I do. Nathan Wolf, I always liked Huntley. I don't think Tyler Huntley's very good. Where's he now? He ended up just signing with some team. Tyler Snoop Huntley. Where did he? Oh, the Dolphins.
The Dolphins.
Yep, which actually, speaking of the Dolphins, the Miami Dolphins are putting Tua on the IR list, short-term IR, so he's going to be out at least 4 weeks. I'll be really, really curious to see if he ends up playing against the Raiders week 11. It's week 3 right now. Do you think that Tua plays against the Raiders week 11? I know it's a long time, but if you're Miami and you can't win football games, you're not going to put Tua out there.
Yeah.
Like, I think we're going to know by the NFL trade deadline, so week 9, so literally like we'll get 2 weeks to be able to prepare for Miami. I think we're going to know by the deadline, November 5th, whether Tua's going to be playing or not, because if Miami's selling, they're not going to put Tua out there. If they're not good by the deadline, why the hell would you put Tua Tagovailoa out there? If they're not good these next 4 weeks, I don't think you'd put him out there either.
I agree.
What up, Raider Shep?
I have a question before we get any more of the show started with the Super Chats flowing. Do y'all want to get crazy for my birthday? Give me a Y for yes and N for no. If y'all do, we have a deal.
Yep. I'll tell you this. I'm a little nervous.
Do y'all want to go crazy? If not, we'll have a normal live show. I have a birthday, dinner happening tonight, so we're all good with that. But I have a deal if y'all want to get crazy for my birthday.
Yep. I'll tell you this. I'm nervous about this deal because, again, Chuggs and I, we hang out a lot. Obviously, we work together. And I dropped the ball on Sunday night. And I'm a man of my word. And I think you guys know, like, when we make a deal here, we do our best. Obviously, there are certain times where, things get carried away a little bit. But Chuggs and I always show up. Each day, I hope you know this, you're going to get a Raiders video. You're going to get something from Jeremy and I because we believe in commitment to excellence. And I dropped the ball on Sunday. So depending on how this goes, I could be hurting.
So everybody's saying yes. So this is going to be the deal I'm going to make.
Okay.
Every 100, Mitch is doing a beer bong. And every time we get to $500 total, I'm doing a pimp boot.
On a Tuesday.
Well,
I will say this.
On a Tuesday.
Alex she's in San Diego for a work trip, so it's just Chuck and I until Monday. Because Jeremy does have a dinner tonight, we have to get out of here in 2 hours. So that's something that I will put into the atmosphere because I also have to be able to take out Chuck. Here's how it's going to go. If you guys want to party today, it's Chuggs' birthday, and that's the deal. The deal is the deal. But you know what? I'm going to sweeten the deal a little bit. If you bang today on Jeremy's birthday, I'm going to count it as 2 bangs for the month of September, which right now, Ooh. Jedi, Spidey, Raider B, Bryce, and then Justin G. These are the people right now in first place for our September bang competition.
Rebel, if you were here right now, I would invite you to dinner.
Dude, I'll tell you that. That'd be fun.
As long as we don't let Rebel take a boot.
Though I hope the restaurant that you're going to doesn't have boots. I hope it's a nice steak dinner.
Can I get y'all anything to drink? Yes. Can I get a boot of Sprite?
36 ounces, please. James Guevara, what up, man? From your Raider family out in Freedom, California, our boys picked up a crucial dub, but the shit talking continues. Raiders versus everybody. I mean, like, if you're Las Vegas, and I think, one of the things that AP said this week, which I'm really, really happy AP said it, because, you walk in to work on Monday after a Raiders win, you're feeling a lot better. Like, I'm still happier now compared to last week. Like, I feel like every single day throughout last week, I was just kind of bummed out. You know what I mean? This week, I've been really, really happy. But AP, when he was asked about, hey, did you hear the news that Bryce Young was benched for Andy Dalton? Pierce said, I'm not really going to worry about that. We have a lot of things that we need to fix for our team. There's a lot of shit talking that's going to happen this week. But I'm telling you this right now, if you take for granted any team in the NFL, I bet you the Baltimore Ravens fans were trolling, laughing because we were the biggest underdogs in the NFL this week. In fact, I actually think that the early slate of games last week, every single underdog ended up winning. Yeah. The Raiders were 9-point dogs. I don't know what it is right now for Carolina, but I don't think it's that many points. If you think that we're just going to be able to walk over Carolina, that's a scary situation.
Think again.
You need to be 2-1, man. Nathan Wolf! Bang!
Let's get it started in Let's get it started in here. Casamigos time. It was smooth, brother. Friendships. That's one of my favorite. That's one of my favorite cheerses to do.
That's if you don't know what it is. You did that like 2 years ago, and I was blown away. I was like, that's an amazing speech. Can you give it? You got it?
Oh, there's little ships, there's big ships, but the best kind of ships are friendships. Here's to many more adventures for many more years to come.
Oh, it's a good ship.
It's a good ship.
Could be a ship show today, man.
It could be a ship show today.
I
hope Ryan Campbell comes in and we have David Zahn and John Scheffler in the chat too, by the way.
That's
David Zahn, John Scheffler. We're getting crazy today for my birthday. All I want for my birthday is a David Zahn.
That's it. What's funny is David Zahn's like, all I want is the 3 Bo Jackson hats I paid for and lost. He's like, if I could get that would be amazing. Hey, Miggy, all love, bro. We need a fullback to help the run offense and O-line recovery from my birthday yesterday. Hey, Miggy Camacho, happy birthday, brother. I'll say this. I don't think that we need a fullback. Quite frankly, I think NFL teams that are still using a fullback are just, you're living in the past a little bit too much. You just need an offensive lineman.
Man. You just need,
you need some offensive linemen.
I think the fullback has been replaced with a tight end.
Correct.
You just have an extra tight end, and they play fullback.
Like, if you wanted to run at 12 personnel where, you line up Brock Bowers either in the slot or as like an H-back, kind of like what San Francisco does with Kyle Juszczyk, I think you could do that with a Harrison Bryant. I think you could do that with a Michael Mayer. I think that the best person fit for that job is Harrison Bryant, because I would just rather have Harrison Bryant play that fullback tight end role, and then you just line up Brock Bowers out wide, because I do think Bryant's the better pass blocking, run blocking tight end compared to Michael Mayer. Now, Bowers can do everything. I don't know if you guys heard what Rob Gronkowski said today about him. Gronk said today that he thinks that Brock Bowers could be better than him. And again, you're on air. Gronk talks to Tom Brady a lot, who Brady, obviously everything going on right now with the Raiders. But, when you watch Brock Bowers, you know what I mean? It reminds me a little bit of Darren Waller, where when Waller was at his peak, you couldn't cover him. Real talk. You couldn't cover Darren Waller. He was bigger than you, he was faster than you, and he did everything really well. But the thing that Waller was never really able to do was block. Bowers can block. And the fact that it's year one, he's got already 15 catches, 156 yards, leads all tight ends in the NFL in both of those categories. I'm excited to see what this guy turns out to, because, sometimes history has a way of repeating itself and has a way of happening a little bit differently. Travis Kelce has lost a step. I'm not afraid to say that.
Shit.
He has slowed down.
And shout out to Gilbert Moreno. sent me a Starbucks gift card. That's what I got for breakfast this morning.
Yeah?
Yeah, I got my free Starbucks.
Hell yeah,
I got
Gilbert
another- Hey,
Moreno.
Gilbert, I appreciate the hell out you for that. I didn't even know you could do that.
How did he just sent you a gift card?
On Venmo, it was like he sent you a gift card on Venmo.
That's dope.
I was like, dude,
A Starbucks gift card.
appreciate that.
Yeah, I'll tell you this. Sometimes Starbucks is one of those things where Alex just collects points. I feel like I only go to Starbucks with Alex. Alex, I don't know what it is, but for me, I'd rather just drink a free cup of coffee at my house. Alex is like, or, we could drive and spend $6 and go get a cup of coffee and make a morning out of it.
I appreciate the hell out you. If you donate to the show today, or hit me up on Venmo. All the birthday wishes in the chat. Thank you guys so much. I really do appreciate everybody in the nation. And I think Mitch said it best on why he first became a Raiders fan. It's a family. It's like everybody, regardless of what the outside media and everybody sees with the fighting and everything going on.
Which we do have to chill on the fighting.
When you really get down and into it and talk with Raider fans, there are truly some amazing people who they would give the shirt off their back to a Raiders fan any day of the week.
Like Nathan Wolf would probably give the underwear he has on right now for you if you needed it. Not a doubt in my mind. Nathan would be like, you need my underwear?
Miggy, briefs off.
Here you go. You can use mine. What up, Mo? It's crazy how all the stations talk about how the Ravens lost and not how the Raiders won. Happy birthday, Chuggs. My question would be, where do you live? Because, there's two-sided coin to every game like that. Think about the game where, the Ravens blew, or the Raiders blew all their leads with McDaniels, the 20-0 against Arizona, the game against Baker Mayfield on Thursday Night Football. We sat up here and we're like, that was an unbelievable collapse by the Raiders, where we're going to talk about the good side of it. We're going to talk about the side of the Raiders putting together really good plays, a lot of good drives. Minshew get hot and he was cooking, but I can also understand it from Baltimore sideline where you gave up 13 points to what looked like maybe one of the worst offenses in the National Football League. But I think for us, we know how much talent we have on offense. You can't deny the talent that the Raiders have at the skill position spots where you got Devontae and Brock Bowers. That right now might be the best wide receiver tight end combo in the league, right? Then you got Jacoby. He's a really good wide receiver too. Mayer's a good tight end. Trey Tucker can do some stuff too. But the Achilles heel for us right now is the offensive line and the quarterback. But that wasn't the Achilles heel in that final drive. They had it cooking, man. The fourth quarter, the momentum was there. Raiders were hot.
And Sucker Free said, I share a birthday with his grandma. She turned 99 today.
Wow.
Let's go.
99. You
That's
also
awesome.
share a very special day in my family. So my grandparents' wedding anniversary is September 17th.
Oh.
So always forgive me because when I walk in, my dad's always like, oh, did you call your grandmother this and that? Right, Dad? September 17th? I'm pretty sure that's the day. At least that day stuck in my head. He's going to be like, nope, that's the wrong day.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Taino!
Bang! Come on, man.
Taino! He said it's a bromance. Happy birthday, Chuggs. We have to start fast. Hey, we'll always have those old fashions and picklebacks. We have to start fast, 17-3 after the first quarter. Panthers created turnovers, but a lot of penalties.
I tell you this right now, I'm never having another pickleback shot before I eat a steak ever again. Never again, Zon.
Dude,
you can't make
the
me.
pickleback at the steakhouse is hilarious.
I bet you if you would have said, can I get cotton candy, that would have been easier for them. Dude, he was like, can I get a pickleback? And she was just like, is that the knockoff version of Nickelback? Because I don't know what you're saying right now.
He said, can I get a pickleback? And she said, who's there?
Do you mean this photograph?
And, of course, we are shirt cocking today. We are shirt cocking. Queso boot for Chug, says Raider Sancho. Never again. Never again. I promise, Mitch, that neither of us would ever attempt a queso boot ever again.
The only way I would ever do a queso boot again, if you beat Raider Ron's record. I'm not kidding you. What that did to my body was up there with the was up there with the gummy bear. Yeah. We once ate a gummy bear. It was 7 or 9 million Scoville units. Wasn't all that spicy on the tongue. Dude, it was a washing machine in my stomach.
Jersey Boy Greaser, the Ravens host, needs to learn how to cope harder. Top 4 draft pick team, my ass. Have fun crying yourself to sleep.
What's funny is our Ravens guy is genuinely one of the nicest people I've ever met. Like, he's actually a hard guy to talk shit to because he's too nice.
We were like,
we tried.
We told him, we said, hey, don't be afraid to get a little feisty this week. Man, you need to come out of your shell a little bit more. As soon the first time he does that.
Yeah.
The first time he gets a little bit,
cocky. And which, let's be real. Every Raider fan going into that Ravens game, like I was telling Jeremy, like our tailgate was slow-ish compared to what it usually is. Now I get it. It's early on the West Coast. But the amount of people, I put out a question, what's your confidence level on the Raiders to beat the Ravens? The answers to that were like -10, -100, 1, 2, 3. So he's feeling confident. He's got his chest puffed out a little bit. And I'll tell you what, the NFL, man, it can serve you a piece of humble pie really, really quick. Really quick.
Steven Gutierrez, Getsy calls dink and dunk plays because O-line can't give time for plays to develop.
Totally disagree with that. And yes, I understand that our offensive line has been bad. And Getsy might call a few dink and dunk plays because he's not confident in our offensive line. But our offensive line, from a pass blocking standpoint, I know we've given up 9 sacks and it's been bad. It hasn't been nearly as bad as our run blocking. Our run blocking, I think you make an argument, has been the worst in the NFL. But then also, like, there's times where Getsy does just call the quick out right away in the flat, quick screen. What I loved about that fourth quarter was because the Raiders were losing and we needed to push the ball down the field, it forced Getsy to push the ball down the field. And when you get momentum, when you get a little bit of confidence, like just confidence in general, and your offensive line started to get some confidence, if I'm Getsy, if I'm the entire offense, I sit down and I go, what do we do in the fourth quarter? And I'm going to try to do that again. I know that AP said that he wants Zamir White to be a back that gets 20-plus touches a game, but, like, Zamir's not the right running back in this James Craig zone blocking system that we have to give 20-plus touches to. The type of running back that you need, a back kind of like what you've seen like Miami implement, a back that you've seen San Francisco implement, is this exact same zone blocking scheme. One, you need an offensive line that can block. Two, you need a running back that can jump cut. Like, you need somebody that can put his foot in the dirt, get north and south quick. That's not what Zamir White is. So if I'm the Raiders, I got to take an honest look at myself and go, I know I wanted to run the rock, but our offense is built right now to throw the football. Yeah, we got Gardner Minshew, but this offense is built, and I mean built, to sling the pill.
Jay Raider, I was inspired by y'all to make content. I'm Raider IG. We are looking good. And send me a happy birthday. Jay Raider, appreciate that. Love to everybody who, goes through this hard journey of making content. The only thing that me and Mitch will always say, no matter what, stick to your laurels, stick to who you are, what? And don't let anybody try to change you or keep you down. Because no matter what, Jay Raider, people are going to shit on you no matter what you say. You can say this, you can say that. You can say the sky is blue and somebody's going to shit on you. Just keep your head down, know who you are, and keep on making your content.
I agree with that. Jay Raider, if you ever get the opportunity to make a podcast or if you ever want to do something, hit me up in the off season. During the season, I don't want to make you a promise that I can't keep, like bailing on Sunday Night Football. But like real talk, in the off season, if anybody out there starts a Raiders podcast, starts an NFL show, and you want me, I can't speak for Jeremy, but we've come on shows before. But really, if you need me just for like, hey, an hour in the off season, I'm always down. If you're willing to watch this show and send Jeremy a happy birthday wish, I think the only way that we continue to get good content is when you share other people that make good content. So Jay Raider, real talk, man. I appreciate this. Let's go to Jersey Boy. Just talking smack because I'm in a bad mood. Why are you in a bad mood?
Hey, let's get you in a better mood.
Let's get you in a better mood.
The latest Raiders news and rumors. A Las Vegas O-line plan. Are things going to be shaken up a little bit? We saw it in week 2. We started with Andres Pete, changed it back to Cody Whitehair mid-game.
I can't even believe I'm saying this. Andres Pete was way worse than Cody Whitehair.
Dude,
it was bad, dude.
We got hoodwinked. We got hoodwinked by Andres Pete.
I mean, Andres
Pete. We thought
Pete,
he was good.
He was atrocious.
We got hoodwinked.
I mean, they put him at guard, and he wasn't guarding anything.
I was on the Raiders report one time, and I tried to tell him.
You're right.
He's not going to be great, but he can play a lot of positions.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. He was bad, dude. Real talk. Yeah, he was bad, man. Today's deals, before we get into this next segment here, real quick here, I'm going to talk about Andy Dalton getting the start, whether or not I think that's good or bad. We'll get into the offensive line plan. Then I'm going to give you my opinion of whether or not the Raiders should try to trade for Bryce Young. Today's Jeremy Chuggs' birthday, 28 years old. Every time somebody bangs today, I'm doing a beer bong. That's Jeremy's wish, not mine. If you bang, you get 2 bangs for the September competition, and we are 3 bangs away from Jeremy doing a boot out of his pimp cup.
I'm ready.
This pimp cup. If you don't know the pimp cup, I mean, this thing is bedazzled.
Also, I just saw Ira message me. Thank you, Ira. Appreciate the birthday wishes. You're a real one, Ira Jackson. A member of Mount Raidermore for a good reason. He gives and he gives and he gives. Your woman's very lucky.
Ira, hope all is okay, man. I gotta do a call, I think, with Mount Raidermore this weekend. Alex is out of town, so I figured, you know what, I got some downtime. So Zahn, make sure you're available sometime this week, man. I wanna do a phone call. Shit, maybe tonight. If I get weird enough tonight, I could be down to hop on a call tonight.
Ira and Gilbert, thank you so much for the birthday presents and birthday wishes.
Appreciate it. Ira Jackson, David, I see a lot of real ones.
He's such a giver.
Down in the comments. So,
all right. First up, we do have our segment around the latest news and rumors. And is it bad news that Bryce Young is riding the pine in week 3?
Well, luckily for y'all, we're going to talk about it coming up here on today's show. I got 3 segments on tap. I will say we are going to talk a lot about Carolina because that's who the Raiders are going up against. And there's a lot more news around that team than news around us right now. So hopefully you enjoy today's show. And if you can, hit the like button. It does help us out a lot. We actually had a meeting today with our bosses, and they were like, you know, for the amount of people that watch your shows, if you could get that like number up a little bit. And one thing Jeremy and I are always going to do, we're always going to be honest with you. I think that's the only way that this show continues to grow. It's the only way that family's going to work is like, they love what you guys did on Thursday. They love what you guys did on game day, showing up, partying, having a good time with Baltimore. But they said, you know what? If you guys could click that like button a little bit more, that's really all we can ask for. And if you could, how do I say it? If we ever tell you you're about to get hit with a YouTube ad break, don't be afraid to watch the ad.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm just saying.
Hey, newest game on the Raiders report.
Yep. Oh.
Newest game on the Raiders report.
I like this one.
Anytime you get an ad here,
I want to know what it is.
We want to know what it is because me and Mitch have a theory.
Bro.
There's one ad that we get a lot on YouTube.
It's weird.
And it's a sexy snake monster person that's eating another person, and it looks like some sort of video game.
And she shits out an egg.
I have no idea what it is.
That hatches into something else.
But me and Mitch have a theory that I don't know if we're the only ones getting it or if y'all all see this ad too. So
does anybody else get this ad? Like, it is a strange ad, dude.
It's weird.
So one of the things that YouTube asked us was like, you know, they were talking to us and we kind of hit them back with like, well, what ads are you showing our viewers? So if you could watch them, let us know what ads you guys are seeing because
Bearded Goon knows what we're talking about.
Right,
he said
really?
Yes, and it's weird.
Wait, do you actually know what it is?
Rolly's seen it before.
Dude, it's got to be one of the weirdest things I've ever seen.
It's an ad that looks like a video game, and it's like this snake.
Imagine Rick and Morty, but like on a whole nother level.
Jay Rader says, yes, I did, and it's crazy. I don't know why.
Dude, it's creepy from Ramon. So all I'm going to say is if you guys could just let us know what ads you're getting down in the comments when you watch our videos. Believe it or not, that type of stuff does help us out just because we want to know, like, you guys are getting stuff that you actually want to get and you're not getting a woman eating something shitting out an egg.
I used to get, like, something with, like, some sort of mesh procedure, and it was like, if you've had this mesh procedure in the last year, contact this number. And I don't know why I got put.
Procedure worldwide.
I don't get why I got put on that list, but I don't know.
I'm sure it's not the only list that you and I both are on.
Maybe like 25 to 35-year-old male who watches sports is like perfect prime for that weird, sexy video game ad.
Male who's probably 28 years old and deletes his history so his wife doesn't see it every day. That's the right guy to put on.
Yep.
There you go. Hey, if you haven't deleted your history in the last week and you're a male, you know what? You're the real one.
Dude,
delete the last hour. Are you a last 24 hours or a last hour guy?
For what?
When you delete your history.
I never do.
No? Hey, you're better than me then.
One.
You also don't pee in the shower, and I respect that. Coming up, let's talk about some Raiders news and rumors, whether or not when the Panthers benched Bryce Young, if it was good or bad for the Las Vegas Raiders. The Las Vegas Raiders got bad news when the Carolina Panthers benched Bryce Young, and now we're starting Andy Dalton. Coming up here on today's show, I'm going to tell you why, if you rock with the silver and black, you should be nervous that the Panthers did the right thing in benching Bryce Young, and now they're going to be rolling with the red rifle. Before we get into all the reasons why that you should be a little bit nervous on this, if you're not already part of the Noti Gang, make sure you click that subscribe button. Make sure you turn on those notifications for daily Raiders videos, 100% free. And I got to give a shout out to the Noti Gang. Jonathan Martinez, Arctic Cruelty, Giovanni Granillo. If you don't know what the Noti Gang is, when we drop a video and you're one of the very first people that comment on that video, I see it. I recognize those names, and quite frankly, those are people that I want to be able to go out and I want to be able to rock with. The number one reason of why this is bad news for the Las Vegas Raiders, yeah, do it. The Panthers have been the worst team in the NFL, and this is actually a real picture of me side by side next to Bryce Young. But like, the Panthers have been, and it's by far the worst team in the National Football League. We did a power rankings at Chat Sports. If you haven't checked it out yet, please go check it out over on our main YouTube channel. But like, Carolina's been that bad, y'all. Like, they have been the team where they're coming up on your schedule and you look at that and you go, that's a dub. And that does not happen very often in the NFL. Bryce Young has been bad, but because Bryce Young has been bad, the entire Panthers offense has been bad, which then has also trickled down to the entire team being really freaking bad at football. I mean, look at these numbers so far. And again, it's only 2 weeks. I understand that. Up against New Orleans, up against the Chargers, total yards per game, 32nd in the NFL. Think about how bad the Raiders offense has been with Luke Getsy outside of that fourth quarter against the Ravens. Their offense has been worse. Pass yards per game, 102. That's 31st. Rush yards per game, 29th. They are better than the Raiders in that category. Points per game, 6.5. 32nd in the National Football League. Ira Jackson, you're a madman. We'll talk about that after this. Panthers, though, they've been booty from top to bottom. The Panthers have been outscored 73-13 the first 2 weeks. Again, against good opponents, but like 73-13, that's something that you see like Alabama do to a Western Kentucky or something like that. A school that has no business going up against an SEC school. And I'm not trying to sit up here and say that the Raiders are by far the more superior team. The Raiders, with Bryce Young starting at quarterback, I do think are the far superior team. But anytime a QB gets benched at this point in the season, especially when you are the number one overall pick just a year ago, alarm bells got to start going off in your head if you're a Raiders fan. Like, why is this happening? Is it really that bad? And I'm not trying to compare Bryce Young to Josh McDaniels in any sense of the imagination, but when the situation gets to a boiling point and then your owner starts getting involved, that's when you got to sit back and go, there's a lot more going on with this situation than I think that we really actually know. I saw this crazy stat via ESPN, which Carolina's offensive efficiency rating was .70 through 2 games. That ranks last out of 608 instances for weeks 1 to 2 since it was first tracked in 2006. And they have converted 2 of 22 third down opportunities. That is worse than the NFL. When you are the statistically the worst offense in the NFL, all the way back since 2006 in a 2-game sample size, that's got to be really, really hard to deal with. And I know Bryce Young is a good college quarterback, but man, oh man, I was feeling a lot more confident going into this game with Bryce Young as the QB now that I am with Andy Dalton. But here's the question, and this is going to be the ad pin on today's show, which means I'm going to put this as the number one top comment on this video. And if you watch this show, I want you to answer this. So you're about to get hit with the YouTube ad break. I want you to scroll on down and give me your answer. What is your confidence level in the Raiders to beat the Panthers this week? 1, you're not confident at all. 10, it's a lock that we're going to win. The number that I'm going to give you is a 6 because I think the Raiders have not shown you enough that you can go any higher than that. Maybe you agree, maybe you disagree. If Bryce Young was the quarterback, I might put that bad boy as an 8, but I hope Antonio Pierce, Tom Telesco, Luke Getsy, Max Crosby, all the leaders on that team go, hey, you can't take anything for granted in the NFL. When you do, you might blow a 10-point lead with 9 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. Let's go to reason number 2 here, why it's bad news that the Carolina Panthers benched Bryce Young. The Raiders have no tape on the Panthers offense right now. I'm a big person where I always say, like, if a QB gets hurt and then you got to put somebody else in, my mind instantly goes to, remember a few years ago when Derek Carr got injured, running out of bounds, he got that groin injury, and then Marcus Mariota had to come into the game, and they had to, the Chargers had to figure out Mariota. Even though the Raiders lost that game, Mariota looked like he was in his bag. Why? Because they had no tape on him. And right now, the only tape that we can use, if you're a coaching staff, is the tape that the Panthers have put on display week 1 and week 2. You kind of almost have to throw that out because now you're having a totally different quarterback. So for a team that already doesn't have a lot of tape in terms of sample size, you got to probably go back to last season and look what Andy Dalton did. But again, totally different regime in a sense. It makes this challenging a little bit more, and I don't think people understand when you don't have tape in the NFL when you're at this high of a level, how difficult it makes that entire situation. Before I get into reasons 3, 4, and 5, because there are some really big reasons of why you should be nervous that the Panthers just benched Bryce Young, I do got to talk about our awesome sponsor, Gametime. How many Raider fans out there are going to the game this weekend? If you're going to the game this weekend, I want you to spam Las Vegas down below in the comments section because there's a lot of stuff to do out in Vegas. And if you are going to the game, or if you're not going to the game yet, I might be able to change your mind. I love going to watch Raiders football games when I can, and I can remember my first game in Oakland. That was the FAB game, and the atmosphere there was one of the biggest reasons why I'm a Raider fan right now. There is nothing like an Oakland tailgate. Download the Gametime app, create an account, use code CHATSPORTS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply again. Download the Gametime app, create an account. Again, it's CHATSPORTS, that's CHATSPORTS for $20 off. Download Gametime today. What time is it? It's game time. Now, one thing that they got going on right now is their Gametime picks. And Gametime picks are them telling you, here are the best deals at this football game. When I look at tickets, I like to be able to see like what it looks like if I was actually sitting in the seat. I also like to know exactly where I'm going to be. Do I want to sit behind the home team? Do I want to sit behind the away team? Do I want to be near the goalpost? All those things go into the equation. But the cool part about Las Vegas is there's so much to do. Like, for me personally, when Chuggs and I go out to Vegas, we don't book anything because we're like, well, we'll go on Game Time 2 hours before an event. Maybe there's an hour before a comedy event. And I'm like, yo, Chuggs, you want to go to this thing? We get the tickets at a low price because what they know is they don't want to have the empty seat. They know that if you go to that event, you're going to buy food. You're going to buy, I don't know, drinks. Maybe you get a souvenir. So they're going to try to get you in that seat with the lowest deal possible. Gametime's here to hook you up. So if anybody's going out to Vegas now, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, hell, you can use this even in your own city. Like if you're planning on going on a trip anywhere, download the Gametime app, $20 off with code CHATSPORTS. You don't just have to go watch NFL games. You can go create a lot of memories, and I love Gametime because it's not just a place where you go buy tickets for NFL games. You go to these events, you create those lasting memories, which is a lot longer than 3 to 4 hours. You're going to remember those memories for the rest of your life. I can still remember to this day the very first game I went to with my dad when Mike Piazza hit a 2-run home run against Sammy Sosa and the Chicago Cubs. That's something that I will live with forever. Why? Because we went to that event. Create those memories and use it with Gametime. Let's go to reason number 3, why it's bad news. Andy Dalton has torched the Raiders in his career. I've seen some people say, Mitch, Andy Dalton is 4-0 against the Raiders. It's technically true. It's technically not true. So if you look up how many times has Andy Dalton beat the Raiders, on Google, it does tell you he's 4-0. But they're giving him a win in a game that he threw one pass for 8 yards. I would say legitimately, Andy Dalton is 3-0 against the Las Vegas Raiders all time, and he's got a passer rating of 114.2. I'll admit some of these games are a little bit longer ago when, the Red Rifle was at his peak with the Cincinnati Bengals, and the Bengals were, one of the better football teams. But here's the thing, though. I am a career stats guy, and sometimes there's certain players that have the number of other teams. I also don't know if you guys remember this game. This is the game where the Raiders did not cross midfield. He was the quarterback of that one. But, a career 67.4% completion percentage, 716 yards. He's sitting right there around 240 yards a game, 7 touchdowns, has never thrown an interception against the Las Vegas Raiders. That does make me nervous. So the fact that you're going up against somebody that you have no tape on, somebody who was an NFL veteran quarterback, and somebody who's never lost to the Raiders, it makes me nervous. Here we go. Why it's also more bad news that he was benched, Bryce Young, and Andy Dalton's getting the start. Dalton has been good in these instances before, where, Mitch, what do you mean by that? I think for you to be able to last as long as what Andy Dalton has been able to last in the NFL, where he really hasn't been a starter, but he's a reliable backup. Teams value good backup quarterbacks. It's one of the reasons why I was happy when the Raiders went out and got Gardner, because I was like, no matter what, we're going to have a good backup QB, whether that be Gardner, whether that be Aiden O'Connell. But when you look at the numbers recently, because this is what I'm going to do, I'm going to look at recent numbers where the starting quarterback went down, and Andy Dalton, the following game, okay, just like this situation, Bryce Young bench, Andy Dalton playing against the Raiders. In the last 2 years, this has happened, and Andy Dalton has played well. Now, I'll admit, the Seahawks beat Dalton and the Panthers 37-27 in this game, but Dalton was 34 of 58, 361 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 0 interceptions. That was last year against the Seattle Seahawks. Then, in 2022, when he was a member of the New Orleans Saints, when Jameis Winston went down earlier in the season, he was 20 of 28, 236 yards, a touchdown, and interception. Again, they lost that football game, 28-25. My bigger point is this. Andy Dalton is a veteran QB who has a good relationship with the Carolina Panthers head coach right now, and there's a reason why they're making this move. Think about what has to be happening inside of that team, inside of that locker room for that to happen. And then he's also been able to show that coaching staff that I can do this, and I can beat this team. I've never lost to this team, and I've been able to go out there and play at a high level when you put me in these situations. That's why a guy like Andy Dalton continues to last in the NFL. The final reason is players, coaches, I shouldn't say coaches. I only know that players were begging Carolina people to bench Bryce Young. I did find it interesting that Carolina's head coach, I want to say, said Bryce Young is our quarterback. 24 hours later, he was benched. That tells me that David Tepper said, hey, we got to change this up a little bit. We got to go a little bit of a different route here. And when you follow a lot of the people that cover Carolina, to me, the best person that covers the Panthers is Joe Person. He's for The Athletic. He does a phenomenal job. And this is what he said on September 15th. If Dave Canales keeps playing Bryce Young, he risks alienating the locker room and the fan base and further bludgeoning Young's confidence. So what I want to do is always put myself in the other team's shoes. And I think for a Raider fan right now, it might not be the exact same thing, but I think we also know what kind of like recently what's happening here, right? Where the Raiders last season had a head coach that nobody believed in at all. And everyone's saying, fire Josh McDaniels. If the Raiders fire McDaniels, we're going to go live for 24 straight hours. You get to a point where your locker room gets split, your fan base gets split, and you got to look at it for them like, hey, man, this is a business. For them to get to a point where it's that bad, where you are benching your number 1 overall pick after you traded the entire world to go out and get him, if there's one silver lining here for the Raiders, it's people might say the biggest NFL draft bust of all time is no longer Jamarcus Russell. I think people are going to say it's going to be Bryce Young if he doesn't work out because of everything Carolina gave up to go get him. So in conclusion, the Panthers benching Bryce Young for Andy Dalton, I do. I think it's bad news for the Raiders for all those reasons that I just illustrated right there. LV, we need to be ready. If the Raiders are not ready to go for this game, I'm telling you right now, if you think you're going to be able to walk all over Carolina and you're going to look forward to the Browns in week 4, you're going to lose this football game. You got to be ready to go. So if you're a Raiders fan and you're going to Allegiant Stadium, I need y'all to be loud and proud the way we were in that fourth quarter against the Baltimore Ravens. That game gave me chills. But I know this, as happy as I was that the Raiders came back and beat Baltimore, I also know as upset as I was that the Raiders lost to the Chargers. If the Raiders show up in their home opener at Allegiant Stadium, Antonio Pierce's first game as the Raiders head coach, and we lose to the worst team in the National Football League entering that week, there's going to be a lot of panic here. It's going to be from me. It's going to be from you. So I hope AP, Telesco, Crosby, Minshew, Adams, if you wear a C on your chest, if you're rocking silver and black, you better be ready to go for this football game. Because Carolina's going to come out and they're going to play inspired. Just like the Raiders went out and they played inspired football up against the New York Giants last season after firing McDaniels, where we were up 24-0 at halftime, won that game 30-6. That's going to be Carolina this week. This is their Super Bowl. They're going to come out and give you their best. They're going to give you their A game. And if you're not ready in the NFL, you will lose. So my ask is this. Got to show up. Got to be ready to go. Let's get a win. Let's go to 2-1. Ira Jackson! Bang! Are you kidding me?
I'm going to go
Mount Raidermore. You know what? Fill one up for me, too. Fill one up for me, too. Let's go, Ira Jackson. Are you kidding me, man? Are you kidding me, man? Ira Jackson from the top rope. There's sometimes this shit happens and you can't even believe that it's actually happening. But when Mount Raidermore is on one, you just don't know what can happen, man. Shout out to Ira Jackson, who now is putting himself in a very interesting spot for our September Bang competition. Ira Jackson now is tied with fourth place. I don't know if I said that right. Fourth place on our September Bangs competition this month. Real talk, Ira. That's unbelievable. That's unbelievable right there. What up? How about this? You want to shout out here on the Raiders Report? We got 700 people here watching right now. Can I get some Iras down below? Can I get some Ira Jacksons down below? If you're not spamming Ira or happy birthday to Chuggs, if you're wondering, Mitch, why are we going crazy today? Today's Jeremy Chuggs' birthday, 28 years young. Kind of wild, man. It's kind of wild. I can remember, when I first started doing this show, when I first started doing it, I had to be 24. Now I'm like the old guy here at Chat Sports, which is kind of crazy. But seeing Chuggs grow and develop here with me on this show, real talk, I appreciate you guys showing love to Jeremy today. That's okay. It's okay that mine's not movie quality. It's all good. Though this Happy Dad boot is, it's going to be something here. What flavor did you give me? I don't even know. What flavor is that? Grape? It's grape. Bro, that joke is amazing. I'm not going to lie to you. That's a phenomenal joke that I can't say. I can't tell you the joke that Jeremy just said. I really can't. I wish I could. All right, so Chuggs has got his pimp boot, courtesy of Taino Raider.
$50, I'll do it shirtless.
Dude, every time. It's no doubt.
$50, I'll do it shirtless.
I mean, you did wake up a champion today. Oh, dude, I'm not going to lie. I thought that was it. I really, really thought that was it. Adrian, happy birthday, Chuggs. 28 boots tonight. All right, real talk. 28 boots. I think the most boots we've ever done on a stream maybe is 10 of like just you and me. Now, we've had other shows where we've had help. Just you and me. I think we did a show one time, 10 boots. I don't think we could ever do. I think anybody that has a boot, if you have a boot, if you don't know what it is, it's 3 beers. We do Happy Dads here. It's just easier. 36 ounces overall. Anybody that has a boot knows it is a gauntlet. It's a gauntlet. I mean, let's just be real. It is a absolute battle. All right, Chuggs. They're saying what? James says $50. He does it shirtless. Oh, I'll tell you this. You might be clanging boots for a $50 super chat. 28 of them, man. 28 of them. You ready? I know I'm going to lose, but sometimes that's okay. That's okay. Oakland. Live Oakland. That's a real one right there. Count me down. 3, 2, 1. I pushed it that one. I'm not going to lie. Oh, man. I thought I had it. Oh. That's like running the 100-meter dash, and you're at, like, your last final steps, and you're like, I just beat Usain Bolt. That has to be the greatest time I've ever ran. I mean, that's got to be the best time I've ever had. And then all of a sudden, you just see Usain Bolt moonwalk right by you. I don't know. No. I'm not going to get sick. I've done this enough where I know. Is it the Braves? See, then I hate it. I hate it then. I hate the Braves more than the Astros. I hate the Braves more than the Astros. I do. Probably. I don't know. Probably not there. I think it's probably just Rolly and I. Yep. Probably not. Though, I don't know if Smitty, if you showed him the Astros logo and the Braves logo, if he'd be able to see the difference. I don't think he would.
Mavs in 4.
Oh, dude, this is a cool pick. Happy birthday, Chuggs. 28 boots tonight.
Hell yeah.
I'll tell you what, there's not many people I meet that I'm intimidated by their mustache. That's an intimidating mustache.
Oh,
right
dude. Adrian, you and your buddy, I remember Mitch was like, hey, not many times do I have the worst mustache in the group.
And it was by far. Now, again, I remember both you guys came up on the show during the week 1 live show that we did out in North Carolina, but it's one of those things. This might sound weird, but I think for every college athlete out there, like, there's been a time where, you shower as a team. I was more embarrassed standing next to those guys.
Oh, I did not know where you were going with this.
Well, no, I mean, as a freshman, if you've never done that before, it's a very intimidating thing. I don't care what you say. Even if you're confident, not confident, you're like, I'm about to shower with 45 people. I have no idea who the hell they are. It's a weird thing.
Yeah.
That's how I felt standing next to those two guys with those mustaches. I mean, let's be real. They were bigger. They were thicker. Good mustache. Good mustache. Jay Rader. Mitch, let's work. I'm excited to embark on this. Quite frankly, I don't know if I can join. If you're saying the word embark, I think your vocabulary
Queen
is
Sarah
way...
Otto's in the building.
The Queen. Oh, my Queen. I'll tell you this right now. This has been a long-going thing here for the last month and a half of, is Queen Sarah Otto okay? And
Glad you're here.
Queen, I'm happy you're here. It's been a minute.
Because usually we get the opposite. Usually we get people who aren't here for the offseason, and then show back up once week 1 shows up.
Yep.
You were here all off season, and then as soon as the preseason,
She's like, if these games aren't being played on Madden, I don't want any part of it. I want nothing to do
she's like,
with
I
it.
already know what the season's going to happen. Lose week 1, win week 2. I've already seen this script.
Which, by the way, just saying.
What happened in week 3?
So hear me out. Raiders week 1 in our Madden simulation lost to the Chargers by 12 points. Raiders Madden simulation week 2, Raiders won 26-20 against the Ravens. Week 3, the Raiders beat Carolina. So we started talking about if the Raiders go 4-1. In Madden, the Raiders were 4-1. I know it's crazy, but so far our Madden sim has been right. Has been like very close to right.
Sarah, you don't have to be sorry. We were just worried about you. We didn't know where you
I didn't
went.
mean it like that, Sarah.
Yeah. And Jay Rader, hit us up. Let us know the offseason. Glad you're doing your thing, man.
Seriously.
Our next sponsor for this next segment is going to be PrizePicks. So me and Mitch wanted to, play a little PrizePicks here on the show.
I like it. More or less than 215.5 passing yards for Gardner Minshew against Carolina, which I almost was tempted to not even put Carr for obvious reasons up on screen.
Yeah.
But it's Carolina, if you don't know.
Against Cars.
More or less.
Ryan Campbell in the building.
Ryan, I owe you an apology, man. And here's the truth, Ryan. Here's the truth. I was hurting. I was banged up, and I tried to cash a check with money that I didn't have in my account. I was banged up. Real talk. I was banged up. So here's my deal to Ryan Campbell. If anybody right now bangs, right now, not Ryan Campbell, anybody bangs. Ryan, if you want to do it, it's up to you. I'm going to do a boot for Ryan Campbell. I'm going to do a boot for Campbell. I felt really bad about it. I really did. You can ask Chuggs, which again, I live about 15 to 20 minutes from our office when I walk. I don't think I could have done it. And Alex was like, there's no way you're going into the studio. I look like, that picture you showed me before we went live of the guy that, that's what I look like when you called me.
What?
You also showed Marsh.
Wait, before we went live today?
Yes.
Oh! Yes.
That was me when you called me. I was, let's just say this.
I was so
not well.
I was so confused at what you meant.
I'm like, how do I tiptoe this line? I'm like, how do I tiptoe around this line without saying exactly what I need to be able to say? So again, if anybody, Joan Scheffler, bang! Come on, Chef.
So, Chef, every 500 I'm doing a pimp boot, and every 100 Mitch is doing a beer bong.
Correct. However, this is for Ryan Campbell.
Oh.
I owe Campbell one.
All right.
I owe Campbell one. I made the deal. Sometimes when you make a deal and you're not able to live up to it, you got to make your bed. You got to make your bed and you got to lay in it, man. Yep. Dude, I hear you. This is... You guys are wild, man. Y'all, happy hours open from Rebel, Montana. Let me, Chuggs, if it's okay with you, I'm going to go take a quick pee.
Yeah.
Everybody, while I'm away, spam happy birthday for Jeremy Chuggs. We don't usually do this crazy shit on a Tuesday. We don't. We don't usually do this stuff on a Tuesday, but because today's Jeremy's birthday, we were partying. And the next person that you're going to see up on screen, that's what I look like when Jeremy called me.
Kel, sorry I missed the jersey raffle. Got busy at work. Hey, Kel, it's all good. We made the deal that you had to be there to win the jersey raffle because we've had a bunch of problems in the past, but I'm glad you took it like a champ. I'm glad you didn't take it badly. I really do respect it. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. And if you want to reach out, if you want to get ahead of the game and hit me up on Instagram, hit me up on Twitter, and during the games, if you're not able to make it to the jersey raffle or something, maybe put in there like, hey, Jeremy messaged you on Instagram, like, because the biggest problem is, we don't want any of these raffles to go to waste. We want to make sure every single one goes out to one of y'all, one of our Raider fans. So, Kel, I'm sorry, but I appreciate you taking it in good stride, my good man. Actually, wow. Here we go. Also, Sir Chai, happy birthday, Jeremy. One of the realists, Sir Chai, my guy. Thank you so much. Thank you for all the good birthday wishes. Thank you to Gilbert Moreno and Ira Jackson. I'll definitely be going to Starbucks. I got my free Starbucks this morning. It's a long-standing tradition that I get my freebies on my birthday. So,
when you say you get your freebies,
you know what I mean.
Okay. I'll tell you this right now. Every guy knows what you mean.
But I do appreciate.
There's a reason why Jeremy woke up a champion this morning. Let's just be honest.
Hiya! There we go. But no, for real, I do appreciate all the birthday wishes. I do appreciate all, the super chats, everybody hanging out. I do appreciate, the birthday gifts as well. So thank you to everybody for making my birthday a special one. Sometimes it sucks when you work on your birthday, but here at Chat Sports, I can say one of the good things about working on your birthday, especially when you go live, is that you get to have some fun.
And you get to pick lunch.
Not anymore.
Well, we're going to give you a lunch pick on Thursday.
On Thursday, yeah. On Thursday, we're getting Dickies.
Yep, which is also what happened this morning.
Petey's head just popped up so fast.
Yeah, Petey just had a morning, wouldn't you like to know, that we're getting Dickies right now. I mean, I'll tell you this. That was I'm actually concerned for him. I think he just pulled his neck muscle. He's going to need Tex to show him a few stretches that he can do to get out that neck muscle injury. I'm just happy he didn't hear that.
Anthony Green!
What's up, Anthony Green?
Happy birthday, Chuggs. I acknowledge you as our tribal chief. Mine, what did you say? Mine was September 3rd, Virgo gang. Let's go. Anthony Green, a real one. Hey, I shall name you as my chief bodyguard. Do you know what the tribal chief is?
No.
If you had one guess, I acknowledge you as our tribal chief. What do you think that's from?
If it's not something that Tyler Jones has filmed, I don't know.
Smitty gets it too. That'll give you one clue. And Smitty.
WWE.
It is Roman Reigns.
Roman Reigns?
The one true tribal chief.
Sorry, Alex just landed it. Does anybody live in San Diego? Be on the lookout for a 5'3" Mexican woman.
There probably aren't any.
There's probably none there in San Diego. Maybe 5'2". Maybe 5'2". But hey, we're all the same height laying down anyway, am I right?
Rustin Long!
Rustin Long! Happy birthday to Chuggs, one of the realists.
Appreciate you, Rustin. Thanks, buddy.
So here's what's going to happen.
Adrian says there's a million of them in San Diego.
I'm not going to lie. That's the joke. But I owe a boot here for Ryan Campbell / John Scheffler.
Raider Angela, 74, says, happy birthday, Chuggs. Me and Raider Kiko, 74, will be at the game versus the Browns.
Raiders! Come on, man. All right, I got to ask. Raider Angela, 74. What's up with the 74? If you and Kiko both have number 74, you're either twins, married, both at the 74 number. I mean, what would it be? Because judging by your picture, Angela, I don't think you were born in 74. I could be wrong on that. If you were, you look phenomenal for 74. Raider Kiko, can't say the same, but...
Dude,
Raider
74?
Raider Kiko looks like he was born in 74. I'm just kidding.
Raider Angela, if you're 74, I want what she's having.
I'll take two.
I'll take the tuna.
I'll take the tuna. What's up, Campbell?
Happy birthday, Chuggs. My birthday is Friday. So cool that we're 3 days apart. I do have to say that one thing about September birthdays is I think I looked on a list, and my birthday is actually the 4th most common birthday in the United States.
You want to know why?
Because of New Year's.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, because of New Year's. But the cool thing is I get to share my birthday with a bunch of people as well. So, okay. Raider Kiko says because our anniversary is on 7/4. So 4th of July. That's cool.
There's a lot of fireworks in the Kiko household on 4th of July. That's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say. They got some... All right, you got to do this with me. You ready?
What?
The Kiko household on 4th of July. You think they have any whistling bang holes?
Bang!
Any whisker do's or whisker don'ts?
Wait, I got to look it up. Hold on, wait.
All right. Does anybody else know the fireworks that the Kiko family has? I bet you they have some whisker do's and whisker don'ts. Not a doubt in my mind. You're struggling.
You're going to stand there owning a fireworks stand and tell me you don't have no whistling bungholes, no spleen splitters, no whisker biscuits, honky lighters, Husker do's, Husker don'ts, cherry bombs, Nipsey daisers, with or without the scooter stick, or one single whistling kitty chaser?
Name that movie. If you can't name that movie, we can't be friends. We can't be friends. How much?
Husker do's, Husker don'ts?
Who do you think, besides Trace, because Trace is the obvious answer, who do you think in the Chat Sports office could rock a mullet the best? Trace is the obvious answer.
Yeah.
I mean, Trace can't be the guy. You think Tex?
Jack.
I would pay Jack $1,000 right now if he would have a mullet. I'm not kidding you right now. That would be incredible. All right, how about this? Which Raiders player not named Gardner Minshew would be the best to have a mullet? Let me know down in the comment section. Best Raiders player right now on our team not named Gardner Minshew to rock a mullet. Who is it? Because Gardner Minshew's the obvious answer.
That's tough.
It's not Max. I feel like all the answers are just going to be the white guys on the team.
Yeah, JPJ, AJ Cole.
AJ Cole would be, I was going to say AJ Cole would be a good one. Spillane with a mullet would be intimidating.
Yeah, Luke Getsy.
Honestly, if it might help. It might help. Who's a really good name? Who's somebody? Michael Mayer? Brock Bowers with a mullet. Are you kidding me?
Which
he's going for 100 a game.
Brock Bowers.
Mark Davis.
How does he look so good on the field, but also when he's off the field, he's got a receding hairline, my guy.
Yeah, which again, I'll tell you this, I would give up my hair to be able to do what Brock Bowers does.
Yeah, that's fair.
I would. I'm not going to lie to y'all. I think everyone here would be like, yeah, I'll give up my hair right now if I could play football the way Brock Bowers
He'll
does.
be going to Turkey one off season for sure.
Ryan Campbell, we got another one. I'm going to the game this weekend. Let's win 24-13 is my score prediction.
Ooh.
I like that score prediction, quite frankly. I'm hoping that the Raiders score a little bit more than that. I mean, I want the Raiders to try to put up 30 this week. I don't know if you're going to have another opportunity this season to put up 30. I think you got to try to do it this week.
Yeah.
All right, here's what we're going to do on today's show. We still got two more segments to get into.
Two more How many more boots and beer bongs will we do?
We'll see. We're gonna push though. We're gonna keep this thing pushed. We're gonna keep on pushing.
Flush.
Coming up next here on the show, Antonio Pierce wants the Raiders' offensive line to step it up. After we do this segment, we got another segment coming up here on the show, which is going to be around whether or not the Raiders should trade for Bryce Young. And I know it sounds like it's a question that I've been asked, quite frankly, so many times this week, that whether you like it or not, when I get asked a certain question enough, I look at Jeremy and I'm like, should we make a segment on it? And if the Raiders weren't playing the Carolina Panthers this week, I don't think I would have done it. Maybe I would have, maybe I wouldn't have. But I do think it's at least a fun and interesting show. So I got 2 more segments around trying to fix the Raiders' offensive line and then whether the Raiders should or should not trade for Bryce Young this season.
Chef.
What up, Chef?
Got me Starbucks.
Starbucks.
Chef.
Jeremy's going to show up at Starbucks for the next, week. And
I'm going to have a happy wife.
Yeah? I mean, I literally don't go to Starbucks unless Alex has points for me to get a free coffee.
You don't like Starbucks?
Love it. I love Starbucks. But my problem is, again, when I go to Starbucks, I'm going to spend $6 on a coffee. And don't get me wrong, we live really close to a Starbucks. But I'm also or I'll just wake up and I just make coffee. We have a Keurig. Why am I going to buy coffee? Keurig. Now, Starbucks, the only time I'll go to Starbucks, if we go to the mall, if I'm going to go to the mall, I'll go to Starbucks. Alex and I both will get a coffee, and we'll walk around. Because I need the coffee at the mall, because she's going to look at all these places. I'm a supportive guy. I will go into every store. I will stand there, and she's going to be like, do you mind if I try this on? If I can see a nipple, the answer is no, you can try it on. But, you're going through all these stores. It gets tiring. I need some coffee.
Ira, my son's birthday's on the Friday that he turns 22.
Dylan Laube mullet. That might be the answer.
We know Ira was getting down on New Year's.
There's not a doubt in my mind that Ira's getting down on New Year's.
New Year's Eve, New York wasn't the only ball that dropped that night.
I swear to God, on my grandfather's grave, that was a joke I was going to make. Swear to God. Mine was going to be along the lines of, that wasn't the biggest ball that was dropping on New Year's Eve.
Hey!
Ira Jackson said, bang.
We'll read all those super chats after this segment. I feel like if we don't get into it now, we never will. So let's talk about AP and this Raiders offensive line. Mitch, are you ready to rock?
I am ready to rock. I'm ready to rock. Are you guys ready to rock? This entire segment, I want y'all spamming happy birthday, Jeremy Chuggs. Let's talk about Antonio Pierce. He wants some change. He wants this offensive line to stand up. And quite frankly, I agree. Antonio Pierce wants change. The change that he wants, this offensive line needs to step it up. You can't preach being a physical football team. You can't preach trying to win in the trenches when your offensive line is playing the way that it does. You could talk about Gardner Minshew. You could talk about our offense not being able to move the football. You could put the blame on Luke Getsy. But sometimes it really just comes down to one simple thing. Are you winning in the trenches? And the answer right now for that Raiders offensive line is no. So it is time for the Raiders offensive line to step it up this week against the Carolina Panthers. And coming up here on today's show, I'm going to be breaking down what the Raiders need to do for this offensive line to get some momentum, to get a little bit of confidence, because Antonio Pierce flat out called out the Raiders offensive line. He said that this team right now needs to be able to go out there and step it up. So what I'm going to be breaking down today are my top 3 Raiders offensive line combos that I would like to see at home at Allegiant Stadium up against Carolina this week. I'm also going to be looking at some potential free agents and some trade candidates that the silver and black can target, because when Antonio Pierce calls your offensive line piss poor and Antonio Pierce says that everything is on the table in terms of being able to go out there and being able to fix it, me as a Raider fan, I hear that, and when AP talks, I listen. Why? Antonio Pierce to me has earned that respect of when he takes the podium and he starts talking, I listen. It's not a Josh McDaniels type of thing. So when AP said that the struggles of this Raiders offensive line are not on Zamir White, that is him looking at that offensive line and challenging them this weekend. I hope that this video doesn't tick off the Raiders line. Quite frankly, I'm friends with a lot of those guys, but I'm a Raider fan, and I'm always going to put the nation first. I'm not afraid to say anything about any player because, quite frankly, I know that I've met Raider fans that are 40, 50-year fans, and y'all are always going to rock with the silver and black. We're a family through and through. But at the end of the day, also, I got to be able to sit up here and give my honest opinion. And I can't believe how bad this offensive line has been. Quite frankly, you can make the argument it's been the worst offensive line in the National Football League. So coming up here on today's show, I hope I light a fire. I hope that if Antonio Pierce puts this show on a bulletin board and says, fire somebody up, I'm okay with it because I know I'm not the only one that feels this way. So here's your opportunity to be honest. And I know this. I'm a loud person. Chuggs is a loud person. But when we all get together, we can be really, really loud. The Raiders benched Cody Whitehair last week. You can tell me why. Grade the Raiders' offensive line so far. A, B, C, D, or F. A, you're crazy. Is it a D? Is it an F? This is going to be the pinned comment up here on today's show. You're about to get hit with the YouTube ad break. Scroll on down, and I'm going to give my answer. The Raiders' offensive line has been a big, old, fat F. When I was a freshman in high school, Dad, close your ears. I know you know this. I had to go to summer school. Why? I failed math and I failed Spanish. And yeah, somehow I'm marrying Alex. But anyway, my report card looked like the Raiders' offensive line. It's a big old fat F, man. Look at these Raiders' offensive line grades. Sacks allowed. You are tied for last in the National Football League. Your pass blocking efficiency, 28th in the National Football League. Pressures against the quarterback, 25th. Your PFF run blocking grade, 31st in the league. When you look at a lot of these numbers, and the fact that we're not 0-2 is shocking to me because if you would have told me our offensive line would be this bad through the first 2 weeks of the season and we're going up against the Los Angeles Chargers and the Baltimore Ravens, I'd sit up here and I go, we're 0-2 right now. The Raiders' offensive line grades from top to bottom hasn't been good, besides Dylan Parham. Dylan Parham has got a 79.7 overall PFF grade. The number that you see in parentheses is where they rank in terms of the position that they're playing. So Parham has been the sixth best offensive guard out of 68. Colton Miller, I'll tell you this right now, he better be kissing the feet of PFF to give him a 69.7 because he's given up 5 sacks. But look at Thayer Munford, Cody Whitehair, Andre Drain, Andres Pete. We're talking about some of the worst offensive line play that you've seen in the NFL this season. And here's what I'm going to say to the nation. I know we get a lot of people that do a lot of crazy stuff here, but we got to get something different here. If you expect more out of the Raiders' offensive line, I want you to click that like button because I don't know if it's a talent thing. I don't know if it's a scheme thing. I don't know what it is right now, but what I have seen on the field, it's pathetic. It's, in the words of our head coach, piss poor. And the Raiders' offensive line so far has been piss poor. Coming up here on the show, I'm going to give you my top 3 Raiders offensive line combos that I want to see up against the Carolina Panthers. And we're going to have a little bit of fun with it. I'm going to show you one that I literally have titled as F it. Let's go with this offensive line. Before I show you what offensive line that I would roll with up against the Carolina Panthers, if you don't know what PrizePicks is, hey, you need to listen up because I can tell you this right now. I play PrizePicks every single Thursday night football game. College football game, I've been starting to do a little bit more. Sunday night football, Monday night football. For me personally, if I know I can sit down and watch a game, and I can sit down and watch that game with Alex, she's involved in the game, she's interested in it, and that to me is a win-win. Go to prizepicks.com/CLNS and make sure that you use code CLNS. PrizePicks is America's #1 daily fantasy sports app with over 5 million active members. PrizePicks is the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. All you do is pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections and watch the winnings roll in. Download the PrizePicks app today at prizepicks.com/CLNS and use code CLNS and get $50 instantly when you play $5. That is code CLNS on PrizePicks to get $50 instantly when you play $5. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. PrizePicks, run your game. So one of the picks that we could do for this week is Brock Bowers, more or less 41.5 receiving yards up against Carolina. I stuttered there for a second because I keep seeing Carr, and Carr I can't even put on screen. But would you go with more or less than 41.5 receiving yards for Brock Bowers? I think everybody watching the show right now goes, yeah, I'm probably going to go more on that route. My point is, if you're watching this game right now, Alex has Brock Bowers on her fantasy team. So when Alex and we sit down, obviously I can't watch Raiders games with her, but when she watches the game, she goes, she's on PrizePicks. she's always rooting for Brock Bowers. So for her, she's watching more Raiders football. If you're a dad out there, if you're a man, even if you're a mom and you want to get your kid involved in football and you want them to watch a little bit more, sit down, get a little PrizePicks action. I'm telling you right now, they're going to love the game. They're going to want to learn about it a little bit more. When you do this type of stuff, it's not just you trying to win money. And don't get me wrong, I love winning money. It's nice. I woke up this morning, I had $16 extra in my PrizePicks account simply because I did the more or less on Jalen Hurts last night, and they had a special deal on it. But I also love doing it because Alex wants to watch football. That's a crazy thing to me. It is a win-win situation. I get to watch football with Alex. I get to try to win some money. And all you got to do this is go to prizepicks.com/CLNS. Again, that is code CLNS. Simply, you can click the link that's down in the comments and in the description of today's show. I love playing PrizePicks because, quite frankly, I feel like every single time I do it, it's a win-win situation. But I only do it when there's games that I can sit down and watch because daily fantasy sports is made to be fun. And when I watch the game, I want to have a good time. I want to be able to cheer on my team. And when it's the Raiders, call me crazy, I usually always go more. So here we go. Antonio Pierce called the offensive line piss poor, and everything is on the table. So what you're going to see here is some of the Raiders' offensive line combos that I would roll with up against the Carolina Panthers. If you want to know what offensive line that I would start against the Panthers, this is the offensive line that I'm going to go with. And some of y'all are going to look at this and go, well, there's not really anything changed. I'm going Colt Miller, Cody Whitehair, Andre James, Dylan Parham, and Thayer Munford. The reason why I'm going with this offensive line, because I do believe in the, not if it's not broke, it don't fix it type of thing, but I also believe that the best Raiders offense that I have seen thus far this season was the offensive line that we saw in the fourth quarter against the Baltimore Ravens. And if I'm Antonio Pierce, if I'm Luke Getsy, if I'm James Craig, guess what I want to try to replicate? I want to try to replicate what I was doing in the fourth quarter against the Baltimore Ravens. So Colt Miller, Cody Whitehair, Andre James, and don't get me wrong, Andre James struggled in that game. Cody Whitehair wasn't great, but the Raiders got that momentum going in the fourth quarter. I want to see the offense that I saw in that fourth quarter. So to me, the way that you do that is you put that offensive line that was playing that game against Baltimore, you put them back out there on the field of Carolina. They earn my respect. They earn that right. And I hope that Antonio Pierce and the Raiders, they do that. Now, you could go another option here. The other option is you haven't liked what you've seen, and it's been bad. I mean, the Raiders' offensive line for 7 out of 8 quarters this season has been really bad. So do you decide to start trusting your rookies and put them out there on the field to get them a little bit more experience? I understand that Jackson Powers-Johnson, you don't know if he's going to be healthy or not, but if he is okay to go, you give him the green light to go. You drafted him in the second round. He was one of the best offensive linemen coming out of Oregon. If he's healthy, put him on the field. If he's healthy, put him out there at left guard. I do think his upside is a lot higher than Cody Whitehair. And then Thayer Munford, the Raiders, they started Munford because he was been a good run blocker. Munford has been a liability in the running game. And then last week he gave up 2 sacks. So I know DJ Glaze is a player that, saw some good, saw some bad of this offseason. And, it's growing pains as a rookie. But then at the same time, I can confidently sit up here and go, I think DJ Glaze is going to be a Raider longer than what Thayer Munford is based off of just the next 2 to 3 years because this is a guy that we drafted. So if you're already trying to develop somebody, I don't know if he can be worse than Thayer Munford. If he is worse than Munford, then you kind of do what you did with Andres Pete. You started him. You ended up benching him for Whitehair. You put DJ Glaze out there and see what he's got because Munford's not doing enough to be able to show me that he is deserving of being able to go out there and start every single game. Let's go to the final offensive line combo. This is the one that I like to call the F it. Let's try it. Like, if you get to a point as an offensive line coach as a team where you're like, I don't know what else we can do. We got to go out there and we got to roll with an offensive line. Here's my F it. Let's try it. Now, I'm not saying this is one that I would try. Again, this is the offensive line. The first one that I showed you is the one that I would go with. But Jordan Meredith at left guard, when you go back and you watch the tape in the preseason, Jordan Meredith might have been the best Raiders offensive lineman that played, and he was great in pass blocking, he was great in run blocking, and I know when you hear that name, it doesn't inspire a lot of confidence, but it's also about scheme fit. It's also maybe he's the best offensive lineman with James Craig. Maybe he's the best gamer right now in this scheme. Andre James has been the worst starting center in the National Football League. Let me say that again. Andre James is ranked right now 32nd out of 32 centers in the National Football League. He's been the worst starting center in the league. I could talk about Cody Whitehair, and I was very passionate about Cody Whitehair last week. Andre James right now is the biggest problem with this Raiders offensive line. If your center's playing at the way that James is, you could point out a lot of other things. It's bad up the middle. You're going to struggle trying to run the football the way that the Raiders want to run the football. So do you just put JPJ out there at center? I promise you this. Jackson Powers Johnson is going to be the Raiders starting center next season. Won't be Andre James. Especially if he plays like this, it's not going to be Andre James. Then you decide to roll out with DJ Glaze. My point is, if you just get to that point where it's like, F it, we got to try something, that's the offensive line that I would roll with going up against Carolina. Coming up next here, let's get into some free agent targets and also some trade candidates that the Raiders could potentially look at if it does get to that point where you're like, there's nobody on this team right now that I can trust to go out there and block our quarterback. Before we get into that, though, I do want to tell y'all that we're going to be live on Thursday night for Jets and Patriots. This is another big game for the AFC in terms of teams that we could be battling for a AFC wildcard spot with. I know, that was a deep burp. You can blame Ira Jackson for that one, and John Scheffler and Ryan Campbell. We're also going to be live Week 3, Raiders-Panthers. So if you haven't already subscribed, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Make sure you turn on those notifications. And I know this week's shows, especially on Thursday, especially on Week 3 game, they're going to be pretty crazy. So our September bang race, as it stands right now, Jedi Spidey, he's in the lead. Raider Bryce B, he's at 17. Justin G is also at 7. I want y'all to tune into our Thursday night show. I got to wear a ridiculous costume, and I'm worried if this is going to be a trend. The past two times I think I've done Thursday night football style shows, I've had to walk home in a ridiculous costume. Jedi Spidey told me what costume I had to get. I got a brand new costume for Thursday night football. We'll see if I have to wear it. We'll see if I have to walk home in it. That's up to the nation to decide. But I will tell you this. If you plan on watching that game, I hope that you watch the show with us. We have a lot of fun here. We're Raider fans through and through. We also going to have some pretty cool giveaways as well. All right, so here we go. Let's get into the Raiders now in terms of positions that we got to go out and target, and I would say needs, and I have these ranked. If I'm Antonio Pierce, I'm going to call my offensive line piss poor, and I'm going to look at how much money we have in the salary cap space. Like, here's the targets, the positions that I'm going to go out and I'm going to look at. The number one position, if JPJ is not healthy, I'm looking at center. I want Andre James to get it done. I do. But he's really struggling right now in this offensive line scheme that we got going on. Maybe it's James Gregg. Maybe he misses Carmen Brasillo. Maybe it's the running scheme. I don't know what it is. But the top 5 centers that I would target right now, all 5 of which are free agents, just simply because teams don't typically trade away to center just because it's such a important position. The reason why I have Corey Linsley, number 1, he's got some experience in the past with Tom Telesco, with the Chargers in the AFC West. I will say another interesting name to at least keep in mind is Ricky Stromberg. Pat Elflein, also, he's kind of been in this like wide zone scheme with the Minnesota Vikings in the past, has also played some time with the Chargers on top of that. He also, if you can tell in the jersey, has been with Carolina, so maybe get a little bit of an inside scoop there. The next position that I would target is left guard. And, you could say left guard, you could say overall guard, like could we kick Dylan Parham over if that makes us better to go out and find a better right guard? Sure, that's an opportunity. I would probably look at these guys as more overall guards, but if you need to be able to find a guard to go out and help your offensive line, to me, these are the top 5 names that you'd be able to go out and look at. And again, I don't think that the Raiders will go out and add anybody, but when Antonio Pierce says everything's on the table, this is one of the things that could potentially be everything on the table, is you going out and you signing somebody because you don't have the confidence in the current players that are on your roster to be able to get the job done. The next position that I would look at is in terms of need is offensive tackle. I want to be able to say that Colt Miller can get it done, but I would want a swing tackle. And I would want somebody that can play both sides. And I could also say that you have DJ Glaze, you have Thayer Munford. Maybe you could rotate those guys. If not, there's 3 free agents that you should look at. And then there's 2 players that you could potentially trade for. In the free agent category, DJ Humphries and Charles Leno to me are by far the options that you should look at. David Bakhtiari is really only on this list because of his connections with Luke Getsy. And then Larry Borum and Patrick McCarry. You kind of saw what Max did to Patrick McCarry last week. But then again, Max does that to a lot of players. Larry Borum also has some experience with Luke Getsy. But like every single one of these players, not named DJ Humphries or Charles Leno, like if you're concerned about Colton Miller, and I'm going to make a hot take here, I am really curious if Colton, I don't think he's going to continue to play the way that he's playing. That's just not possible to me in my mind. But if you really see a decline in Colton Miller's game, he's got $0 million guaranteed on his contract over the next 2 seasons. That could be a name to keep in mind of, could this player potentially be traded at the NFL trade deadline? Could they kick over Thayer Munford? Could you go with DJ Glaze? Could you sign a veteran? Because right now what Colton Miller's doing, it's not good. He needs to be able to step it up, no doubt about it. So Antonio Pierce on Monday said, we're not worried about the Panthers. And he said this when the media asked him, hey, have you heard the news that Bryce Young was benched? They're going to start Andy Dalton. We've got to fix the Raiders. The way that the Raiders got to fix the Raiders is on the offensive line. I don't want to talk about Gardner Minshew. I don't want to talk about Zamir White struggling. I don't want to talk about anything else because football sometimes is as simple as this. If you win in the trenches, you will be successful. If you don't win in the trenches, you're not going to be successful. And if the Raiders continue to do with what they're doing with the offensive line, they're not going to the playoffs. They're not going to win football games. You need to be able to go out there and find an offensive line that's got some chemistry, an offensive line that simply wants to go out there and play. Because from what I've seen thus far, it's an offensive line that either A, they don't care about their job, or B, doesn't care about the jersey that they're out there rocking. And both of those, quite frankly, piss me off. What up, Aaron? My boy Barack. He's from my hometown. Dude is a savage. He's going to be a perennial Pro Bowler and possible Hall of Famer. Mark my words. I agree with you.
And it's kind of crazy because
totally
it's like,
agree with you.
For the first time, I do, in like a little bit, I do think the Raiders with their very first pick went with best player available rather than need.
Yeah. Now, I will also say, I'm pretty sure Talisi Fuanga's been really good.
Yeah.
Having him at right tackle would probably be a nice thing to have right now. But, like, when you watch Brock Bowers play, if he doesn't get injured, he's the Raiders' tight end, hopefully, for the next 12 years. I think legitimately he is going to be a problem in the NFL for the next 12 years if he doesn't get hurt. Like, if Travis Kelce can play at this high of a level until he's 34 or 35, I get it. He's got Andy Reid. He's got Patrick Mahomes. But what Bowers shows you is he's the best player on the field overall. Like, he can block. He can do so many other things. And again, like, Devontae's a better receiver. He is. He's a better receiver. But Bowers' ability to just confuse you, it's special. And I hope that I hope that Bowers can stay healthy because I'm with you, man. Let's go to Crash Dog. My son's birthday is on the 20th, and my oldest daughter's is on the 28th. I didn't realize New Year's was so busy for us. I mean, come on, man. New Year's is...
LA, you put the dog in Crash Dog. Let's just say that.
Oh, that's actually
you know some fireworks were going on and,
some whisker do's, some whisker don'ts. And maybe a whistling bunghole.
No whistling bungholes.
Well, I think for this case, there was no whistling bungholes. Let's go to the next one. A reminder, if you want to get your comments up here on the show, you can use hashtag Raiders or Super Chat. It is a crazy day here. I know it's only a Tuesday, but today is Jeremy Chuggs' birthday, and we made a few deals today.
Thank you to everybody who's sent in the well wishes here on YouTube, who's hit me up on social media. Thank you to the people who've sent me, presents on Venmo. I mean, I'm have some Starbucks.
Dude.
Thank you so much once again to Ira Jackson and to John Scheffler and to Gilbert Moreno. It means a lot to me. It really does that y'all spend y'all's time with us here today and that you also, want to send me a gift. It means a lot. I do appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. All the birthday wishes in the comment section. I see Chris Sanchez. I see Joaquin. I see Dario, Tyler, Black One. Everybody in the comment section. Thank you guys so much. It really does mean a lot to me. y'all want to celebrate with me. So thank you guys.
Let's pull up, man. We do have one more segment to get into here on today's show, and it's whether or not the Raiders should trade for Bryce Young. So hear me out. Here's going to be my deal. Let's get through this segment. And then we do the last 30 minutes of the show happy hour style. You guys in? Let's get through this segment here. I know we have a few super chats to get to. We still got Richard Hogan, Dylan Erickson, Nico Laz, and then another one from Dylan Erickson. Let's get through.
Let's do it.
This next segment, and then the last 30 minutes of this show, happy hour style. You in?
I'm in.
Is that all right with y'all? Because I know this. If I try to continue to do what I'm doing, it's hitting me like a ton of bricks, which I'm sure you guys could see.
Richard.
Going to Vegas this weekend, what's the best source for Raiders-Panthers tickets?
Oh.
I mean, come on, man.
Come on, buddy.
Bro, is this your first rodeo? I'm just kidding. Gametime. Gametime is the one and only place you should go to. Use promo code CHATSPORTS. That's going to get $20 off. If you download the Gametime app, funny enough, Jeremy, if you download the Gametime app and you use code CHATSPORTS, you're going to be able to get $20 off. Now, I recommend checking out the Gametime picks. It's probably the best solution there to get the best price available. Also say that if you want to go out and watch like a comedy event, maybe a concert, the link's going to be available to y'all down in the comments and in the description of today's show.
I feel like Richard might have already known this.
Really? You don't say. Dylan, not hating on Minshew. He's a dog, but is it just me or does he throw one of the unsexiest spirals in the NFL? You know who also used to throw a bad football? Peyton Manning. If you go back and you watch Peyton Manning, he used to throw some ducks. But I think Peyton Manning's pretty good. And I don't disagree with you, like, where you got to throw a pretty football. I think it does help out the receiver. If I get the Gardner Minshew that I got in the fourth quarter, we're going to the playoffs. I mean, that's the truth. We're going to the playoffs, man. All right, here we go. Let's get into the final segment.
We do have two more. Two more.
Two more? Nico, Miller will get stronger as the season goes on. Glaze should get the
opportunity
to start at right tackle. Mumford's a statue, slow as F. Bowers makes me go from 6 to midnight. I think it just went from 6 to midnight. I would like to see what DJ Glaze can do. I'm willing to give Thayer Munford another shot. I'll say this, though. I think Thayer's better on the left side. I think Munford is more built to be a guard than he is a tackle. He's just more powerful. He's not quick enough, and I think he's just overthinking it right now. When he plays guard, to me, he's a much better football player. So, Nico, I agree with a lot of those things, and Bowers is the real deal. Dylan Minshew, I got you, bro. I got you. Real talk, though, Dylan Erickson, Nico Laz. Appreciate everybody tuning in to today's show. We got 467 people watching. Can we get 10 more likes? Miggy. Snake woman crabbing out egg poker game.
Crapping out the egg.
And Blue Chew ads. Okay. I like that. So you guys saw it. I mean, if you see that ad, you got to let me know. I got to know. Seriously, you got to tell us. It is a uncomfortable ad. It's an ad when, like, Alex walks in, I'm like, oh, my God. Don't look at this on screen. And I feel bad. Chuck has to watch it. Blue Chew. Blue Chew's actually pretty good, though. Tua just got put on IR. Should he retire? This is a tough question. Chuggs and I have kind of answered it. If it was up to me, again, if I was Tua and I had close to maybe $200 million in my bank account, guaranteed, because if he retires right now, Miami has to give him $167 million. If it was me, I would retire. But I also know this. If there's something that you've done your entire life and you feel like, you don't want to go out that way, you still try to do it, right? Like there's guys that I know in my hometown that are still trying to play like football. Like there's like a league in my hometown where it's like 40-year-old guys, 50-year-old guys.
This.
And, it's one of those things where I'm like, I get it, but you're a 40-year-old man, you just tore your ACL, and nobody's going to cover that medical. Like, I just think when people love something a lot, and Tua obviously loves football, he's done it his whole life, it's a hard thing to be able to close that page on because to Tua, I'm sure he's a lot of other things, but he's also a football player. And if you have the ability, like, you tell me right now, if I was good enough to still play baseball and I was able to make millions of dollars doing it, I would love to play baseball. But guess what? I'm not good enough to be able to do it. It was easier for me to hang it up. I just, as a man, as somebody who just believes in myself, I will always bet on myself. And I think Tua's probably doing that exact same thing. However, all it would take for me is Alex, my dad, my mom, my family to sit down with me and say, hey, I want you around, and I would be able to hang it up. You don't know what's going on with Tua. I hear you, though. Chuggs and I said it on our live show. The initial reaction was, if I'm Tua, I would retire.
Noah.
What's up, Noah? Is Mitch really shirt cocking on Chuggs' B-Day? There's only one way to find out. There's only
Last
one way.
And then we'll get into the
Happy
program.
birthday, Chuggs. And Thor, any update on JPJ? Unfortunately, no update on Jackson Powers Johnson. Antonio Pierce was asked yesterday about Diablo and JPJ, and his answer was no update on that. Though we're going to get an update tomorrow when the Raiders practice. They're off today, so there's not really much going on. But once you get the injury report, we will be able to keep you guys up to date on that. Okay, I was going to say, I don't know what that was. All right, let me get a quick drink here. Coming up here on today's show, which if you don't know what I'm sipping on right now, I got some Panda Sups. Not a sponsor today, but Panda Sups, love them. I got the new Tropics in here today. Wake me up a little bit.
I think Aaron Wilson made a mistake.
Uh-oh. What do you do?
There's two tweets that just came. I have his noties on. There's two tweets back-to-back that says, Panthers are signing wide receiver Russ Yeast to the practice squad. The next one says Panthers are signing safety Russ Yeast to the practice squad.
I'll tell you this, confidently, there's a mistake in there. Confidently,
Or
there's a mistake
there's
in there.
two Russ Yeasts.
And they're ready to rise. That's all I know. Coming up, should the Raiders trade for Bryce Young? If you haven't already voted at the live poll at the top of the show, please do so. I see right now we got 1,400 votes. 33% of you say yes. 67% say no. My answer is going to be coming up here on today's show of whether or not the Las Vegas Raiders should make an attempt to trade for Bryce Young. You ready, Chuggs?
I'm ready.
You guys ready? Coming up, let's talk about it. Should the Raiders trade for Bryce Young? Let me know down in the comments section with either a trade for or pass. The Carolina Panthers recently put their number 1 overall pick on the bench, and leading up to this game against the Raiders, I want to know, should the Raiders make the deal? Coming up here today on the Raiders Report, I'm going to tell you why the Raiders should and shouldn't trade for Bryce Young, and then at the very end of the show, I'm going to give you my honest opinion of whether or not I would do it. I'm also going to talk about my trade offer to Carolina that I think makes the most sense for both sides. I'm also going to give you a prediction of where I think Bryce Young ends up playing football, maybe this season or maybe next season. I'm Mitchell Renz, host of the Raiders Report, and if you're looking for free Raiders videos every single day, make sure you click that subscribe button. Here's why the Raiders should not trade for Bryce Young. The first reason is, that's why you should trade him, excuse me. This is why you should trade for Bryce Young. If you believe that the Panthers are to blame for everything going on and that it's not been a Bryce Young problem, the only reason why I would bring this up is because when you look at the way that this organization has been ran, and there's a lot of Raider fans out there, they go, well, you should get rid of Mark Davis. He's the reason for a lot of our issues over the past 20 years. If you have that mindset, you got to be able to bring that exact same energy to Carolina because their owner has not been good. I saw something here from Sanjeet, and I wanted to be able to bring it up because I 100% agree with him. Bryce Young was ruined because the Panthers' OC/play caller is bad. In my opinion, the quarterback position has been overvalued. People think that good quarterbacks win games, but good play callers are the real winners, which I agree and I disagree with that. Give me Kyle Shanahan or Andy Reid over any quarterback in the NFL. I don't agree with that. I will take Patrick Mahomes over Andy Reid. I would take Patrick Mahomes, I know Raider fans, sorry, over any play caller. But I do agree with the idea of Bryce Young has not been given a fair shake in terms of the play calling that has been going down with Carolina. Also, go back and look at all the players that they've traded away. It's been a bad organization. They've traded away Christian McCaffrey. They traded away Brian Burns. They traded away DJ Moore. When you look at what they traded away, it's just not a team that's done a lot to help Young. They did a lot to help him this offseason, but my point is I do think Carolina has done bad, and he needs a new spot to be able to go to. Let's go to the next reason here of why the Raiders should trade for Bryce Young. The Raiders need a franchise quarterback. That's an honest conversation. It's not going to be Gardner Minshew a long time. It's not going to be Aiden O'Connell a long time. I'm not saying that it's going to be Bryce Young, but can we look at each other here and just say, if you told me the quarterback with the highest upside right now, Bryce Young, has the higher upside than any quarterback we have on our roster, that's a cold, hard fact. And if Young ends up being that number 1 overall pick that you thought he was going to be, because he was a locked and loaded number 1 overall guy. He was somebody that I was very confident in. I think everybody was confident in him. Nobody thought Bryce Young was going to be this bad. There was reports that the Texans would have taken him number 1 over C.J. Stroud. My point is this. If he could turn out to be the guy that everybody thinks that he was, and just Carolina was bad, the Raiders could be a Super Bowl caliber team. The next reason of why the Raiders should trade for Bryce Young, if you don't love any of the quarterbacks in the 2025 draft class, and it's kind of a difficult decision this early on in the year, but this is a conversation that needs to be had. For me personally, the top 5 quarterbacks that I would target if I'm the Raiders next year, Cam Ward is number 1, and it's not close for me at this point. I do like Jalen Milroe. I think Carson Beck has shown some flashes of good. Sure, Quinn Ewers is battling an injury, but to me, he's still going to be a top quarterback. Take him. And then Shedeur Sanders. If at any point you look at those 5 names and you go, I'd rather have Bryce Young over this guy, I'd rather have Bryce Young over that guy. Because to me right now, the only name that I would take Bryce Young over Shedeur Sanders. I'm not afraid to say that. All those other 4 names, I would take those other 4 QBs over Bryce Young based on what I know right now. Another reason of why the Raiders should trade for Young, it's if you don't think that this team's going to be able to get one of those top quarterbacks or pay somebody in 2025. Dak Prescott just signed a brand new deal with the Dallas Cowboys. He's probably off the table. But then I'm a person that believes in this squad where I don't think we're going to be in the top 10. I don't think we're going to be in the top 15 picks because I believe in this Raiders defense that much. So if you go into that mindset, you go, well, if we can't draft the top quarterback, maybe we can sign one. When you look at the quarterbacks in the free agent class next season, there's not a lot of names that inspire a lot of confidence. Like Russell Wilson, Sam Darnold, Justin Fields. And I know that, Darnold and Fields have looked pretty good so far. But if the Raiders go into the 2025 season with any of these QBs as their starter, and I get it, you still got Gardner another year, you still got Aiden O'Connell, but we got to be looking at a brand new quarterback next offseason. That's an honest take. The next reason of why the Raiders should consider trading for the Carolina quarterback is the Raiders play the Panthers this week. And this is a kind of a dumb reason, but it is a reason that I would consider right now. And it's not going to be valid next week. If I'm Las Vegas and I go, do I want to be 2-1 or 1-2? That's a really big difference right now for Antonio Pierce. If I'm AP, I'm also go, it's my home opener at Allegiant Stadium. This is the first time I get to show Raider fans who I am. And I'm not saying you go out and make the trade and you start Bryce Young. That ain't it at all. But what I would do is I go, all right, Bryce, I'm going to trade for you right now. I'm going to use everything that you know. That way I can get an inside look on Andy Dalton, somebody who I have no tape on whatsoever. This game for the Raiders, 2-1, 1-2, is a monumental game. And if anybody plans on watching this game this weekend, I hope you watch it with Jeremy Chuggs and I. Hit that subscribe button, turn on those notifications. Last week, we had over 153,000 people tune into the Raiders Report. I'm trying to get to 176,000 subs by game day, and we're about 960 away. We've had probably close to 2,000 subs in the last 48 to 72 hours, and I know not a lot of people know what we do. I promise you this, if you want commitment to excellence, pull up on a Raiders game day here on the Raiders Report. Let's go to the final reason of why, if I'm the Raiders, I would trade for Bryce Young. It's not going to cost a lot of money, and it's not going to cost you a lot in a trade. The Panthers, if they trade away Young, it's going to cost them $6.1 million in dead money this year and then $12.3 million in dead money next season. By them benching Young, they already made the decision that they are moving on. And quite frankly, that amount of money, it's not a lot of money for a billionaire like Tepper. The Raiders would only owe Bryce Young $10.1 million over the next 2 seasons. So it's not 10.1 this season, technically, Young is cheaper than what you got right now in Gardner Minshew. So if I'm going to talk about what it's going to cost, this is what I believe it would cost the Raiders to make a trade for Bryce Young. I'm saying it's probably going to be somewhere around, if you offered Carolina a third-round pick and a fifth-round pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, so if you're Las Vegas, you get to keep your first, you get to keep your second, but you take on that, which I know it's a lot for a QB that's been bad, and Bryce Young has been bad. But if you believe that it's not a Bryce Young problem, it's a Carolina Panthers problem because it's been an organization that's been shitly ran for the past, I don't even know how long. This is a deal where I think it's a good deal for somebody that was just drafted number 1 overall last year. Like, he was the number 1 overall pick. Think about what Carolina gave up to go get him. Now, I'll tell you whether or not I would do this trade at the end of today's video, but I got to sit up here and say that this, to me, is the projected cost. You could also see maybe a Justin Fields trade situation where there's a conditional pick thrown in here. It is what it is. But I got to know from everybody that watches this show, would you make this trade? Give me a yes. Give me a no down below if this is what it cost to get the former Heisman Trophy winner, to get the former number 1 overall pick, to get the quarterback that just got benched by the Carolina Panthers. Let me know yes or no down below. My answer is going to be coming up here later on the show. I'm going to tell you whether or not I would do that trade. So make sure you stick around, watch till the very end, because I think I got a take that's going to surprise quite a bit of people. Now, if you don't already know where you should get your tickets, if you're planning on going to a Raiders game, if you plan on going to Las Vegas this weekend, or if you plan on really making a trip anywhere, if you like having a good time, Game Time, shout out to them for sponsoring the Raiders Report. I love being able to go watch football games. I love being able to go watch any event because it creates those lasting memories. I can remember when Chuggs and I went to go see Drake. I can go remember when I went to go see Kevin Hart. I can remember when Alex was able to go watch the Raiders and Cowboys in a preseason game. Why? Because when you use Game Time, it's not only the experience then, it's the memories that you save. So download the Game Time app, create an account, use code CHATSPORTS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem code CHATSPORTS, that's CHATSPORTS for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? It's Game Time. Now, the thing that Game Time really wants me to tell you all about, and, you know, this is what Jeremy wants me to tell you guys about as well, is the Game Time picks. These are the best deals available for that game. Now, if you look right now, the best ticket deal that they got going on, they'll show you it's like, hey, this is 10% off. This is the top 1 percentile of ticket deals. This ticket's maybe like $50 off. I love Game Time because I don't feel like I waste my time. I know exactly what I'm going to get. I love the all-in pricing, so when I go to checkout, I'm looking, I'm like, all right, this ticket is $195. In fact, I found a Raiders ticket against Carolina this week for $195. I mean, imagine you go to checkout and you're like, all right, that's $195. You go to other ticketing apps, you think you're going to pay $195, and all of a sudden after taxes, fees, and all the other BS, you're paying $300. Game Time's not going to do that to you. They're going to hook you up with the lowest price guaranteed. And if anybody wants to go get started with Game Time, download the Game Time app. That link is going to be available to y'all down in the comments, down in the description of today's show. And shout out to them for hooking up Raider Nation. And when we talk about sponsors a lot of times, I want to be able to look you guys, you know, in the eyes here when I say this. It's like when you get started with Game Time, when you get started with any sponsor that we have, it helps us out here a lot at Chat Sports. We're able to keep these shows for free because of our sponsors. So if you plan on buying tickets, just remember, this helps Mitch and Chuggs. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. All right, coming up here, this is why the Raiders shouldn't trade for Bryce Young. I know in the top half of the show I talked about why they should. Now we're going to get into the reason why you shouldn't. And I'm doing this live show right now. 67% of the people watching are saying that they would not trade for Bryce Young. The first reason why you wouldn't do it is, let's be real, he's been terrible. He has been awful. And there's conversations right now that could go down that, you know, if I'm a Raider fan, like when you ask somebody, what's the biggest bust in the NFL ever? The common answer is Jamarcus Russell. In fact, I think if you asked 100 people before this week, who's the biggest bust in NFL history, I think 100 people say Jamarcus Russell. Now, I bet that might be 50-50 because if Bryce Young ends up getting dealt and he's bad, considering what Carolina had to give up for him with a 2-16 record, they tried to build around him this year. He's been really, really bad. No other way around it. Quite frankly, I think he deserves to be in that conversation right now of the biggest bust of all time, considering what Carolina gave up. The next reason here, it's not only has he been struggling, he's been struggling when the pocket has been clean. This is a red alert. Sirens are going off because, you could talk about your quarterback being bad. And last year, his number one receiver was Adam Thielen. His offensive line was terrible. This offseason, they added a little bit more talent around him. They put some offensive linemen around him. And it's not a offensive line issue anymore. This is a Bryce Young not trusting himself issue. And did you know that Bryce Young was pressured only 4 of his 29 dropbacks week 2 against the Chargers? That was the lowest rate in the NFL. So you telling me the quarterback that saw the least amount of pressure against him week 2 put up these numbers? I mean, this is embarrassing. 18 of 26 for 84 yards and an interception. When you go back and you watch the tape, the amount of receivers that are open that Young's just simply not throwing the ball to, I don't know if he can't see them. I don't know if, and that's a genuine, I don't know if he can't see him because he's that small, but he's not finding the open guys right now, and it is clearly really, really bad right now in Carolina. The next thing is, you might think that he's just too tiny to play in the NFL. I can't believe that I'm saying this because I was so confident in Bryce Young because he just has it up here to me. We're coming out of college, Heisman Trophy winner again. Like Nick Saban, Alabama, you can always pick apart that he was too small. But he's been too small his entire career. It's not something new. And if you can't go out there and do things, something like a Kyler Murray's doing, I think Carolina is afraid to let him run and be an athlete because he's so small and they're afraid that he's going to get hurt. And, I don't quite frankly blame them. Bryce Young is listed at 5'10", 200 and something pounds. He looks a lot smaller than that. I mean, I'm not a big guy by any sense, right? I'm not a big guy. If I would be bigger than Bryce Young on a football field, that to me is a wild thing to think about. And when you look at him with the offensive line, when you look at him out there on the field, it's a clear of he might be too small to play in the NFL at the quarterback position. And I don't know if that's ever been said before. If the current team doesn't want him, this gives me flashbacks of when I told people, hey, there's multiple Raiders players that want Josh McDaniels fired. If you get to a point where your organization starts getting this split and you got a guy like Adam Thielen who is a very calm, cool, collected dude, and he's having a panic, I don't want to say panic attack, but he's freaking out during a game of dude, I'm open, I'm not getting the football. And it's been very well reported that there's multiple players, multiple people that want Bryce Young to be benched, and they finally did it. I also wouldn't make the trade, and this might be one of the biggest reasons. I don't trust Luke Getsy. And I don't trust the Raiders quarterback coach, Rich Scangarillo, to be able to mold him into the right guy. There's a lot of other NFL teams where, I'm being real, if I'm Bryce Young's agent, I'm Bryce Young, I don't want to go to the Raiders because they don't have the right personnel to get the most out of me. That's a fact. If I'm Bryce Young, I'm looking to go to somebody that I believe in that head coach. I believe in that offensive-minded guy in terms of quarterback coach, OC. The Raiders don't have that right now. So because I don't believe in that, that's the reason why I wouldn't make the trade here for Bryce Young. And then the last reason is the obvious one. If Carolina's asking for a first-round pick, I'm going to laugh in their face. Quite frankly, I think even if Carolina asked for a second-round pick, I would consider a second-round pick if it was conditional. And the idea of if Young goes out there and wins me, let's say, 9 to 10 games, I will pay that second-round pick. But he has been this bad, and with them benching them, if a team gives up a second-round pick, that's that team saying, I believe in my coaching staff. I think Carolina is just terrible. So coming up here, let's talk about the top teams that I think could make a deal for the former Heisman Trophy winner, for the former number 1 overall pick, for the former Alabama Crimson Tide quarterback, because the fact that he's been benched this early in his career, it's shocking. We did release a video over on our main YouTube channel here at Chat Sports. If you want to go check it out, I've put this link for you guys down in the comments and in the description of today's video. But as soon as Bryce Young got benched, everybody here at Chat Sports is like, where's he going to go? He's going to get traded. I promise you this. Bryce Young will get traded. I don't know where he's going to go necessarily, but the teams that I think make the most sense right now for Young in the short term, because Tua Tagovailoa just got put on the short-term IR, if I'm the Dolphins and I consider myself a playoff team, I make the deal for Bryce Young. You let him play right now. You see what he's got. If he's not your guy, all good, but you tell him, hey, As soon as Tua comes back, that's going to be our option. The long-term play, I think it's the Los Angeles Rams. If I'm Bryce Young, I want to go to LA. I want to play with Sean McVay. I want to play in an offense that gives me some confidence. Now, I'm not playing him right away if I'm the Rams. I'm going to play Matthew Stafford in a season that right now has got a lot of injuries, a lot of bullshit going on. But then Stafford's getting really close to retiring. You let him learn behind Stafford. You let him learn in the Sean McVay offense, and you continue to let it go. So the question that I asked all y'all when I started this show, would you trade or pass on Bryce Young? Should the Raiders do it? Give me a trade. Give me a pass below, down in the comments section. The answer to this one, and I'm just going to be honest, I might upset some people. I might not. If I was the Las Vegas Raiders, I would trade for Bryce Young. That's a big if they sit him this season unless he is needed. Unless Gardner Minshew and Aiden O'Connell both go down, I'm sitting Bryce Young. Recently, I listened to something Tom Brady said that he was like, in today's day and age in the NFL and football, people don't learn, where they're just forced to be able to put in a situation and they don't learn the quarterback position. If this is a trade that you make, you got to let him sit and he's got to learn how to be a quarterback in the NFL before you throw him out there in the fire. I also only do this trade if the Raiders get a new OC and a new quarterback coach. If AP and Telesco look at me and they go, Mitch, we're sticking with Luke Getsy, we're sticking with Rich Scangarillo, I'm not making the trade. If the Raiders upgrade their offensive line, then I make the deal. Because here's the thing, Bryce Young would, I don't want to say that word, but like Bryce Young behind this Raiders offensive line, y'all, would be an absolute disaster. If the Raiders were willing to upgrade their offensive line a lot in the offseason, draft free agency, you're spending big at that ticket item, and then you get a brand new OC and quarterback coach, then yes, I would trade a 3rd and a 5th round pick for Bryce Young. Now, if you enjoyed today's show and you want to be able to interact with me on social media, I'm at Mitchell Renz 365, literally everywhere. Instagram, Twitter, that's where you can find me. I'm going to be posting a lot more videos now that the season has been going. And if the Raiders do make a trade for Bryce Young, I hope y'all are ready. I'm going live here. We're going to be reacting to it. I don't think it's going to happen. I would give it a one just win, baby, for the Raiders trading for Bryce Young. However, though, I do think it's smart, and if I'm Telesco and I'm Antonio Pierce, you better pick up the phone. You better call Carolina just to see what it costs. What up, Amaro? Happy birthday, Chuggs. I feel like the Raiders are going to go 11-6 or 12-5. I hope so. I think it starts this week. You got to get a win against Carolina. Your next few games are very winnable.
Yeah.
I think the Rams game is going to be an interesting one with all the injuries they have. But if you don't have a winning record going into the NFL trade deadline, quite frankly, I think anything is possible. So here's what's going to happen. I got to pee.
Okay.
I got to pee. I'm about to pee my pants. That's just me being real. We're going to stay live here for another 15 minutes. 15 minutes. Today's Chuggs' birthday, and we're going to treat this happy hour style, okay? We are 3 bangs away from Chuggs doing another boot out of his pimp cut. Every hundo we get, I'm doing a beer bong here on today's show. And you know what? While I'm away, every 50 is a beer bong.
All right. There we go. Keep those questions in. Hashtag Raiders or Super Chat. Once again, thank you, everybody, for the birthday wishes. Thank you, everybody, for rocking and rolling, hanging out with us today. Thank you for, the birthday presents. I've gotten some Starbucks gift cards, Ira, Crash Dog, Chris Perez, John Scheffler, Gilbert Moreno. Thank you all so much for the birthday presents, the well wishes. Everybody who's super chatted, everybody who's commented happy birthday today, messaged me on social media. It means a ton. Thank you guys so much, so much. Let me get to some more questions from, let's see. Jay Rader asked, we should put Getsy in the booth. He can see plays better. You know what? Dan Quinn actually said this, and it's weird because he now is the head coach, so he can't be up in the booth, but he actually prefers being the defensive coordinator in the booth. Mr. Sperry. Thank you. Hey, some people know ball. The Lone Stranger. How old are you, Chuggs? I am turning 28 today. It's my Josh Jacobs year. This is my Josh Jacobs year. I'm turning 28. It's looking forward to another good year ahead. Another good year ahead. Chance, happy birthday, Chuggs. September B-Day in the house. Mine's the 28th. Hell yeah. Let's go. Let's get down on it. Ron, happy birthday, Chuggs. Barely hitting puberty. LOL, you're officially in your prime. Thank you guys so much. Thank you. Blue Richards. Blue Richards. We had a great meal at Joel's Chop House. Great conversation too. Blue, actually, you were able to see my amazing vocal performance at karaoke that night. That was a really fun night. Thank you, Blue Richards, for rocking and rolling with us in the chat today. Remember, Mitch said got some deals on tap for today. If you want to see some more beer bongs go down, we can do that. 300 away from a pimp boot. And you know what? I'll even do that for Venmo. So, however y'all want to do it, we'll rock and roll. Mr. Borelli. I heard the voice of an angel that night from Blue Richards. Dude, that was a fun night. That was a fun night. Raiders, Chuggs, a new year, baby. Let's go. Ready for a good night.
Oh, man. So you're going out for dinner tonight on your birthday. What are you getting? Or do you not know?
So last night, I went to a steak and seafood spot.
Uh-huh.
And funny enough, I've been eating a lot lighter. I got a seafood dish. It was amazing. Blackened redfish with a jambalaya underneath.
That sounds really good.
Dude, it was bomb.
A good jambalaya goes hard. I love, actually love, like one of the places I've been telling Alex that I really want to go to is New Orleans. Just, it's a city that I've never been to, but I'm also a big, like, food person where Alex and I, a lot of times, like, trips that we plan, don't get me wrong, it's more for, like, the city vibe to, like, go check it out and say, like, we did it. Mm-hmm. But it's also, like, we're such big, like, foodies and we like to have drinks and stuff like that, where Louisiana is a place that I really, really, really want to go to. Nico says, got to get that tomahawk.
Taino, you're not wrong. Taino said AJ Cole, low-key kind of close to the mullet already.
True. You're not wrong. We got 450 people
tonight
tune in right now.
Tonight I'm going for sushi.
The sushi.
The sushi.
Though I feel bad. I got you a gift last year. I'm going to be honest. I didn't get you anything this year.
Oh, I mean, I think last year's gift definitely, it's the gift that keeps on giving because, one, I'll be able to make ice cream for forever.
Yeah.
And two, probably one of the better gifts I got last year. Ninja Creamy. I've been talking about it for so long. And I still use it to this.
You did. You talked about it.
I still use it to this day with all of my Panda Subs products.
So that day, I bought 3 Ninja Creamies. I bought one for you, one for me, and then I bought one for Alex and her mom, like, for Christmas. I walked out of there like, what is this guy making?
Ninja was probably like, yo, who is this guy who just bought 3 of these bad boys?
That's freaking crazy. All right, I got a question. I like this. This is a PrizePicks question. Give me more. Give me a little bit less here.
I'll be right back because I actually have to empty the tank in case anything does go down.
I like it. 64.5 receiving yards for Davante Adams against the Panthers. Are we going more or are we going less? Chuggs' birthday wish, if I had to guess, it involves a girl on a drunk night in, I want to say, Knoxville, Tennessee, who now is viral. That's my guess. Electric Sports, more. Noah Santana, Anthony. All right, I see a lot of mores. Honest to God, how many receiving yards do you think that Davante Adams is going to have this week? How many receiving yards do you think Davante Adams is going to have this week? Now, I also know that I said that we would stay here we'll be here for another 10 minutes till Jeremy gets back. But if you guys are okay with, like, if you're all like, hey, man, we're good for today, we want to get out of here as well, then I think it's not a bad idea to cut this stream. That way Jeremy can go to enjoy his birthday dinner. If you want to keep us here and you want to keep this thing rocking, obviously it's always appreciated. But I think there's always that two-way street of, are we getting crazy or what are we doing here? Now, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to pour up one, and this is going to go out to everybody today that decided to pull up for Jeremy Chuggs. Because, you know, when you start this show, again, like, you know, back in 2017, I started the show, it's just me. And the fact that you guys have been able to, you know, show love to Jeremy, somebody who's not the host of this show. You guys don't always see him all the time, but every time you see a graphic move, anytime you see something like that, you know, that's Jeremy in the background, right? Where, think of it as almost like when you're hanging out with your buddies and one of your best friends shows love to your younger brother or shows love to a cousin, shows love to your sister. Like, it is the me looking at y'all saying thank you for just showing him love and, you know, kind of show him like the way that we get down here at Chat Sports, the way that we get down here for a nation, because I know that, you know, like, you don't have to do it, I guess is what I'm trying to say. I think some of you are also probably like, Mitch, you need to go home. You're not wrong, but it's just Chuck and I tonight. It's just Chuck and I tonight. Alex is in San Diego. She's on a work trip. So for me, I mean this. What you guys did today for Chuggs, that's really cool stuff. I also don't know if we're going to be able to sync closing time anymore, which that's a whole nother story. We'll talk about that on Thursday. Also, during our Thursday live show this week, which you guys got to tune into it. Shout out to Jedi Spidey. Dude was crazy. I got to wear this ridiculous costume for Thursday Night Football, which I can't even believe I'm going to have to do it, but it is what it is. And I've been walking home in this costume on my IG Live. We'll see if it ends up going down or not, but I told him that I don't know if we can sync closing time anymore. Yeah, unfortunately, I saw somebody say closing time. YouTube got mad at Jeremy and I for singing closing time. So I'm like, they're closing time. The people that wrote that song are kind of on my shit list right now. I'm not going to lie. So this one goes out to everybody that said happy birthday to Jeremy Chuggs today.
What if we just change some of the words? What if we just changed it to Raiders time?
Raiders time. Maybe. Once we get the okay.
Yeah.
I can't do it now.
We'll have to. This will be my project. My next project. I'll go ahead and try to change some of the words to closing time, and me and Mitch will try to sing it and make it into Raiders time.
Then it's a parody. Make it vulgar. See, I can't make it too vulgar because that can also get us in trouble.
Fuck you in the bitch. Out into your ass.
I mean, that would
Raiders time. Getting in the black hole.
All right, see, we're on to something here. All right, y'all. I think it's time for Chuggs and I to skedaddle on out of here. If you made it this far in today's show, real talk, shout out to you. I greatly.
Oh, and remember, programming announcement. We'll be live Thursday Night Football for, it seemed like a great game. Maybe so, maybe not. Jets, Patriots. Also, Taino wanted me to show y'all what he sent me.
Uh-oh. I love that movie. I actually think that might be The Grinch or Elf. Probably my two favorite Christmas movies that I watch every year now.
Love it. We'll be live on Thursday. And then we'll be also live, obviously, 3 p.m. Eastern time for Raiders Panthers. Going to be a very interesting game. I think before this was going to be probably the least watched game. I think now after the, Bryce Young news, this becomes, oh, he said show the video of you singing.
Which one? The in Vegas?
Yeah.
See,
well,
I can't do it right now just
well,
simply because
I can't. I'll put it on my IG again, or I'll put it on my Twitter.
We can't put it on
We can't put
YouTube
it on
right
because
now.
it has the actual
Song in the background.
Yeah, it has the song in the background, so I can't show that one on YouTube, unfortunately, Taino, because people suck.
Yep.
And
People suck.
And they'll take something meaningless like that where we're not trying to take advantage of anybody's song or whatever, but they'll say, hey, we want to sue you because we can't.
Yep.
So
And unfortunately, you always got to plan for the 1%.
yeah, but I do want to still give a shout out to some real ones. Like I said, Crash Dog, John Scheffler, Ira Jackson, Gilbert Moreno. Danny's going to be very happy with a lot of Starbucks. Everybody who super chatted, who showed some love in the comment section today. If you want to buy me a drink, at Jeremy Chuggs. Venmo. Later on tonight, if you want to buy me a sake bomb.
Sake.
Oi, oi, oi. But no, for real, everybody who super chatted today, the drinks were flowing. It was a good time. Usually we don't get wild on Tuesday, but I looked at Mitch and I said, hey.
It's my birthday.
It's my birthday.
Let her hair down a little bit.
Loosen up a little bit.
Shout out to Ira Jackson, today's MVP.
Dude, yeah, Ira went nuclear.
Ira went pretty crazy, man.
That's
what Mount Raider more does.
Ira's due for one of those probably once a month where he just comes out of nowhere, pause, and just blows you up, pause.
A lot of pause.
A lot of pause.
A lot of pause.
But
all right, y'all.
Speaking of pause, you got to get back to a set of pause.
I got to get back to my guy, Chuck. Next time you're going to see Jeremy and I live, it's going to be 7 p.m. Eastern Time, Thursday Night Football. Be ready for a very, and I mean very interesting show. What?
Ron Raspberry, want to see if you can put Serenity up on screen cheering at the Raiders Cowgirls game. She's the one in the front. Yeah, send it to me on Twitter or Instagram. We could probably put that video
Put it up on Thursday.
Yeah, of her with the Raiderettes. As long as you're okay with it, we can do that. But
again, as long as there's no audio stuff like that, we can work with it. Just we can't play certain things on YouTube for whatever
because
reason. We'll get in trouble.
I could play just the video of me singing, but y'all probably don't want to see just a video of me singing.
Correct.
My IG at Jeremy Chuggs, Anthony. A lot easier to follow me on Twitter though. I'm much more active on Twitter at Jeremy Chuggs. If you want to hit me up with a DM, it's at Jeremy Chuggs. So just hit me up and have a great
Chuck,
day.
Happy birthday to you. Shout out to the nation for pulling up. I'll
Chuck,
see you guys.
Chuck, if you're watching this.
He's like, I need to go for pee right now. You ready to go potty? I'll be here in a little bit. See you guys Thursday. Jets, Patriots. We're going to have some fun. Make sure you pull up.